Introduce.
Well, good morning, everybody. I'm excited to get to be with you here this morning. My name is Ben Archer, and I'm a beef sales specialist with Bovatech, and I'll be assisting with your coverage here for the Shorthorn and Shorthorn Plus shows we got today. Class 1, we got here 2 entries, a February of 21 entry from Pleasant View Farms, and a February 18th entry from Carly Black. Looks like two really, really good examples of good Shorthorn Plus beef. Gold calf there on your right, and then the redneck roan there on the left. The redneck roan, actually, I was talking to somebody who's been helping manage that one. Kind of a neat little pedigree on that guy. So, you know, if you've got your pamphlets in front of you, that guy's a fire in the hole. But his bottom side reads Omaha, Evolution, and then there's a touch, I believe, of Meyer 734 in there. Let's hear Judge Mooney.
That has judged multiple national shows in both beef cattle and swine. Through it all, he has enjoyed working with young students of all ages. He also enjoys working and consulting with producers with their beef cattle herds and livestock operations. Could we please have a warm welcome for our Judge Lee Denzer?
Over here on the Shorthorn side, we just got 2 entries, 2 very dissimilar kind of bulls that certainly have some different purposes. We're going to go ahead with the roan calf. Really like his structure and the way he moves out, especially about his front end compared to the lighter colored calf that clearly has more muscle to him. With that comes some coarseness up front. I don't really appreciate the way he handles his front end quite as well as the other calf. But certainly if you're looking for that extra muscle and bone, he's got it. I'd just like to see it in a little more attractive package. We'll look at him a little bit later at the end of the show. Thank you.
Good morning here on the Junior Bull side in our Shorthorn Plus show. Entry 4594, Pleasant Tipsy Tornado, was just awarded your Junior Bull Calf Champion. And second place in that class in your Junior Bull Calf Reserve was entry 5108 with HHL Detonation Style. We are now ready for Class 4 Senior Bull Calves. Looks like a single entry with entry number 2236.
All right, Class 1 in our Shorthorn Plus show is in the books, and here comes our second class of the day. Like they said, single entry, 2236, a September 6th son of CFSF Ultimate Reward from Piper Cates.
Just a single entry over there on the Shorthorn side, senior calf. Got a lot of good things about him, moves out pretty well. Certainly appreciate him in terms of his performance for a senior bull calf. We'll talk about him a little bit more later when we come back for our champion, but a really nice red bull the young lady has. I think has a lot of good things about him. Congratulations.
Results of Class 4 Senior Bull Calves. First was awarded to CFPC Woolsworth, a September 6, 2024 bull owned by Piper Cates from Modoc, Indiana. Woolsworth will also go on to be your Senior Bull Calf Champion. In the ring at this time is Class 7 Junior Yearling Bulls. We have a single entry of 2142 with a birth date of January 7th, 2024.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here to judge the Charlet show. I just love these Charlets. They have such a valuable place in our beef industry. This is a tough class to start with. I think we've got some quality from top to bottom, and just depending on kind of how you want to lay your priorities this morning. But I think this heifer is a solid place to start. She's a beautiful heifer from the profile. Really a structurally sound female on both ends. She's got some rib and body, but she's still plenty youthful enough. It looks like she's going to just mature and be a very, very beautiful type of a bred heifer. This heifer may end up being as good as any. Today she's a bit green in her makeup, but I just love the amount of bone and stoutness and look that she has up through her front end. When she goes away from you, she'll want to narrow up just a little bit, but I still think she's going to be an awfully good heifer as she goes. She's just extremely attractive and very, very sound, and just a really good heifer that I think has tremendous outcome. This heifer probably is as far along maturity as any of the group, and she may end up being the more moderately framed female of the three, but I really like her width. She has the advantage in substance, the most muscle in the class, but she's also maybe just a little more mature, maybe compared to first and second. That could be an advantage for some. So, I mean, she definitely has a place. She's a quality heifer, and just maybe didn't see quite as much smoothness to her shoulder and attractiveness up front, but as first and second. But she's wide-bodied, plenty of rib and shape, lots of quality there as well. Maybe the greenest heifer of the class comes next in fourth. Really smooth pattern, very, very attractive. Just not quite stout enough to run with the first group, but boy, she's a beautiful heifer up through her front end, has her neck set on the top side of her shoulder, and still very correct there as she goes out through her hip. The heifer that closed the class is a growthy, extended, really long-framed female. On the bottom side, though, she just gets a little bit more refined in her structure, doesn't have quite as much to her when you get behind her. Really nice class of variety here to start your Charlet show.
Just a single entry over here in the Shorthorn Plus side. Bull that's really sound in his structure, the way he moves about the ring. We certainly appreciate the shape to his rib cage. I think if I were going to change him a little bit, I'd like to see a little more expression in his hind quarter as he moves, but a really sound bull that covers his track extremely well. Really like the way he gets out and goes.
Results in our Charlet show for Class 100. First place will go to entry number 1930. That is LLC Mayberry, exhibited by Samuel Leach. Second place is entry number 4974. That is Patty Little Miss Kennedy, exhibited by Dunphy Farms, Eric Dunphy, Trails End Farm. I apologize. Third place is entry number 2207, shown by Toby Mays. Fourth is entry number 3251. That was Michaela Sugg. Fifth place was 3593. That was Bob Tibbs. Now in the ring we have Class 101, Junior Heifer Calves.
I know.
Another single entry over here with the plus side. Bull that's certainly got some middle to him. I got him, I think, maybe a little bit on the full side. As he gets out and goes, we'd maybe like to change the way that he tracks out, but certainly a bull that we'll look at later. Congratulations.
Welcome back here to your Shorthorn Plus side. We would like to catch up. So Class 7 Junior Yearling Bulls, we had a single entry, 2142, was awarded your Junior Bull Champion, SVV Stormfront, owned by Samantha Van Voorst from Bowling Green, Ohio. Class 10 with entry 5790, we had a single entry exhibited by Eli Barber of Westminster, Maryland of ELB Dots Ghost. Into the ring at this time on your Shorthorn Plus side, we have Class 11, 2-year-old bulls. We have a single entry of 12:31.
Another single entry over here in the Shorthorn Plus bulls. A bull that's got a tremendous amount of muscle, certainly has extra bone and foot size. If we're going to maybe change this bull, I'd like to have him move out with a little more authority off of his hind legs, but certainly need to appreciate his makeup in terms of his muscle and his bone circumference.
Results of Class 11, 2-year-old bulls first, and your senior champion bull was awarded to HHF Tucker, bred and owned by Samantha Heston from Street, Maryland. We're going to bring 5790 from Class 10 back in the ring and let Judge Mooney decide on your senior champion and senior reserve champion bull at this time.
This is an interesting pair of females in our next calf class. Both heifers are really good in terms of their dimension through their rib, their depth of body, their uniformity of body depth. The heifer that starts the class, yeah, I would like to slim her up just a bit there through her throat and through her brisket, but she easily overpowers the other heifer in terms of her rib, her muscle turned to her top, the amount of shape that she brings to us from behind. The other heifer is a more extended heifer in her framework. She's longer in her skeleton, really smooth in her structure. Excuse me. Really smooth in her pattern, really sound in her movement. She just gets a bit narrower. Sorry about that. Really gets, narrows up a little bit in terms of her base. She's going to always be a little more extended, always be a little bigger in her frame. Compared to the class winner that was just a little easier fleshing type of a female. So a little give and take in this pair.
Over in the plus side, we've got a division champion. I think it's really logical to use the red and white bull to win the division. The white bull will be reserved. Thank you.
Congratulations to your senior champion bull exhibitor, HHF Tucker. Entry 1231, exhibited by Samantha Heston from Street, Maryland. The sire was HHF Samson the Charmer. Your reserve champion junior bull was exhibited by Eli Barber of Westminster, Maryland. Entry number 5790, ELB Dots Ghost. We are now ready to select your grand and reserve grand champion Shorthorn Plus bull. We will give our bulls, our 2-year-olds, just a second to walk around so they can get back in line.
Results of Class 101 junior heifer calves in our Charlet show. First place went to entry number 3599. That is SSF Miss History Breeze, exhibited by Bob Tibbs. And second place was entry 3309, exhibited by Megan Vogel. Now in the ring, they are selecting junior heifer calf champion and reserve.
It's great to be here again, and great to be here judging Charlets. Your state and this eastern region has a great history with Charlets, and I think our champion and reserve represent the breed and the calves really well. The pair we'll use the pair of heifers that they're very similar in terms of their makeup, just a little difference in size and age, but they're quality heifers, I think, that are sound. I think they're in the right kind of composition for their stage of maturity and their stage of age. This first pair of heifers here are really feminine and
All right, guys, coming back in the ring here, we've got our Champion Plus Bull Drive, and I think a really neat group of plus bulls they got coming in here. It represents kind of the duality, the kind of do-it-all that the Shorthorn Plus Bull has the ability to do. You know, you got the roan bull up front, the red bull, the black bull, and the red and white bull, and I think, you know, you've got 4 incredible champions and great reserves there as well in those divisions, and you know, they're not all just necessarily the same. They've got differences into them, and I think they all do a lot of things very well, and I'm very excited to see how this moves forward. You know, this really gets me excited for the rest of the day here with these great plus and purebred Shorthorn shows. I think it's going to be very fun.
Shorthorn plus side of the ring. At this time, we have the following. Your junior champion is entry number 4591. Pleasant Tipsy Tornado. Your senior bull calf champion is CFPC Woolsworth, entry 2236. Your junior bull champion is SVV Stormfront. Your senior champion bull is HH Tucker, exhibited by Samantha Heston from Street, Maryland. This is your grand champion bull lineup. Your reserves are the following. Your junior bull champion is HHL Detonation Style, and your reserve senior bull is entry 5790 ELB Dots Ghost. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for our grand champion Shorthorn Plus Bull Drive.
Well, we don't have a lot of numbers in the Shorthorn Plus Bulls, but I think there's a couple of good ones out here. For me, it's a real logical lineup for this. One thing that's particularly important to me is structure. I've always cared about it. Back in the 1980s, when I was on a collegiate judging team, I used to struggle judging cattle because they were so bad structured. I'd convince myself they couldn't possibly use one that bad, and I'd roll it, but they'd always use the biggest, tallest one, and never liked them. So these kind of cattle certainly fit me better. I think there's 2 bulls out here that are structurally sound. I think one of them puts himself together with more balance and completeness and muscle shape. I think, you know, I value EPDs. There's not a lot of difference in the EPDs on these cattle. So that really wasn't a factor, but again, for me, it's pretty logical. I'm going to go congratulate the person exhibiting the champion or reserve champion bull. Thank you.
Results of your grand champion Shorthorn Bull Drive is as follows. Congratulations, entry number 2236, Piper Cates from Modoc, Indiana with CFPC Woolsworth. He is a September 6th son of CFSF Ultimate Reward. Your reserve grand champion bull is bred and owned by Samantha Van Voris of Bowling Green, Ohio, and is SVV Stormfront, a January 7th son of TSSC BT Limit Up. That does conclude our Shorthorn Bull show. We are now ready to move into our Shorthorn Plus female show here at the Keystone International Livestock Expo. Into the ring at this time, we're looking for Class 1. Oh, I'm a little ahead of myself. We are going to take a quick break to do pictures of our bull division winners. Thank you.
All right, guys, quick break in the action here on the Shorthorn Plus side. So to recap what they just said, Champion Plus Bull, entry 2236 for Piper Cates of Modoc, Indiana, a CFSF Ultimate Reward son. Reserve SVV Stormfront, entry 2142 for Samantha Van Voris of Bowling Green, Ohio, son of TSSC BT Limit Up. I mean, I think just an absolutely incredible pair of bulls that, like I said there before the drive, really showcase what the Shorthorn Plus Beef Bull can do. I think just some incredible sire prospects moving forward that really get me excited about, Plus Bulls in the breed. So, like I said, kind of at the top of the show there, I'm a beef sales specialist with Bovatech and was afforded the opportunity to get to be with you guys here to represent not only the Shorthorn breed as a Shorthorn enthusiast myself, but also to get to talk about Bovatech. There's things, there's about 5 things I really enjoy in this life, and that is friends and family, the good Lord, Shorthorn cattle, and Bovatech. And I think those are really what makes my clock tick and really keeps me going. And so getting to spend time talking about both of those things is really going to be fun today, guys. So if you haven't checked it out already, I implore you to go on over to our Facebook page and watch a live video I did yesterday with Dr. Bill Crozier from White Oak Veterinary Center here in Pennsylvania. I think some of the insight Dr. Crozier had to offer on the IVF process as a whole and what we as a company in Bovatech do differently than some others is really, really valuable. We talked a lot about the use of FSH. That makes our system a little different than some. We are very, very positive on the use of FSH and highly encourage it. And so in our system, that, like I said, that separates us from some. And to get to talk with Dr. Crozier about that, I thought was really, really insightful, talking about why we go through that whole process. So, I'll kind of recap that more as we go through the day today. But I won't harp on it just too much yet because you're going to get to listen to a lot of it today as we continue to go through these shows. So, like I said, very blessed and fortunate to get to be with you guys here today to kind of talk about the path that brought me here. I went to Lakeland College in Mattoon, Illinois, and was fortunate to get to judge under Coach Hayden Wilder there, and then continued my education, and actually this past May just graduated from Kansas State University there out at good old Manhattan, Kansas, and got to be a member of the 2024 National Champion Livestock Judging Team under Coach Dahmer. We really had a good time. I know those guys are out on the road right now getting ready for the Flint Hills contest tomorrow. Just finished up at Tulsa yesterday. Had a better day down there than we did, certainly. So glad to hear that team's really hitting their stride and excited to see what they'll do as they get rolling into the Flint Hills contest there tomorrow. And as then we continue through American Royal, Mid-American, and Louisville contest this fall. I think it's going to be really fun. Guys, I've got to peruse the barn some this week and go look at some of these great Shorthorn and Shorthorn Plus cattle, and I just can't reiterate as a breeder how excited it makes me to be in this industry. This year celebrates 10 years of Shorthorn cattle coming back to our farm from my brother and I. We would have bought our first one in 2015 from Sullivan Farms, a damn proud Myrtle Bow female that still kind of roams the hills there at our place and is really one of our keystone females, one of our matriarch females there in our operation that's had a lot of success for us. So very excited to get to spend our 10-year anniversary up here representing Bovatech at this great National Shorthorn and Shorthorn Plus show. Also want to highlight as we continue on through this month, October 26th, Windridge, Pennsylvania, Zach Six and family are hosting the Legends of the Fall sale. That can be found on CCI Live, and I'll tell you what, I think, we've been a member of that sale since its inception there. This will be the 3rd year. And I'll tell you what, the quality of cattle that keep coming back to that sale and, how it gets better every year and we grow with new consigners really makes me excited. Absolutely go check that out. Catalog is now up on CCI Live. Videos will be coming out shortly. Like I said, I think the quality of cattle that are represented in that sale, whether it's on the purebred end or on the Shorthorn Plus end, really are a force to be reckoned with. And I think it's going to be a very fun adventure as we get started here again.
Just a pair of really good heifers. This heifer that starts the class. I suppose you want to layer in just a nickel smoother there through his shoulder. I'd rather have a little shoulder and have some stoutness, some rib shape, some top shape, and have some hip in her. I just like them a little just bold and powerful when they go. And I think this one's great in her top line. She's still very, very functional in her structure. Still has a tremendous amount of femininity as we look at her through her front end, and that's a really high quality Charolais female. I don't care what age or what division she's in. Next heifer, this heifer's a quality heifer as well. She is built especially well. from a profile. If you study her really from the front part of her muzzle all the way back, she's high-headed, really smooth in her pattern, extremely correct in her top line, and she's got some natural shape to her and spread to her top. And still has tremendous amount of rib and body to her. She just gets outpowered just a bit when you get right behind her. Not quite the Springer rib or total width of base and mass that the class winner has. Good pair of heifers there, exhibitors. Congratulations.
Good talk from Mr. Denzer here on the Shar side. Just listening to some things as we get rolling through. I really like his talk about the quality of these Charolais cattle and keeping them, you know, in tune with what those breeds are known for, keeping them muscular and keeping those females right still, even though we want them to be muscular and good kinds. So I think it's been a really, I got to sit and watch some of the Simmental shows yesterday and watch him sort through that, and it was a very fun and exciting time to get to see that. About to wrap up pictures here on the Shorthorn Plus side, and we'll be ready to get rolling momentarily here on our first class of Shorthorn Pluses. Single entry, entry 1006 from Matthew Mullins.
It's a great day. I'm really can't tell you how excited I am to be here and judging the Charolais. I don't care how many we have in the show. Just great facility and just great to be at the Keystone. And as I said when I started, I really enjoy these Charolais. I do a lot of work collecting data for Charolais cattle and beef carcass data, and I've always felt strongly with how Charolais contribute to our beef industry and how valuable they are and how much better and you breeders have put together these cattle. I think these four heifers have tremendous quality, and it wouldn't matter if you had 50 calves in this division. I think you'd have these cattle would be very competitive. And so compliment the exhibitors. These two here are close, I think. Here, both of these class winners, I think, separate themselves. And, you know, either you just kind of pick either or. The younger of the pairs, really smooth skeleton, really attractive up front. Both of them, I think, are really good in their structure. She might have a little more reach as she gets out front, but pretty small difference. And you get behind her, and she's really got some nice shape. The other heifer, she's a really powerful heifer when you get right behind her. She's got some width to her chest floor, got some natural rib and body in through her center body and goes back into a uniform body depth there through her flank, and still tremendous shape. And again, she's got her head up on top of her shoulder. And pair of heifers are really, really functional and I think really have value and can be very competitive in any show they go. Let's give these guys a really nice round of applause, and I'll select your champion reserve in this fall division.
Just a single entry here in the plus class. I think this calf just soon be at home in the pasture nursing her mother than walking around this show ring. Real green heifer, has a future ahead of her. We're to look at her later when we select our champion. Thank you.
On the Shorthorn side, your late spring heifer calf champion was awarded to entry 1006, MWM Wild Ruby, exhibited by Matthew Mullins of Bealton, Virginia. Into the ring at this time, we have Class 4 early spring heifer calves. Birth dates on these 5 range from April 2nd to April 30th. Again, early spring heifer calves are in the ring. We have 5 exhibitors with ages ranging April 2nd to April 30th.
Five exhibitors this next class, A plus females, 3260 an FF Pursuit from Madeline Rankin, 1008 a Bill Mars Wild Timing for Matthew Mullins, 2447 a Lucan 208 for Jacob Eichenlaub, 2283 SSC 24 Carat for Samantha Van Voris, and entry 999 a Silveris Convoy for Charlotte Holland. Guys, I'll tell you what, this next class gets me excited. We're starting to get into some numbers here in our plus show, and I think it's going to be really good, you know. First one's going to come in the ring. That's going to be Madeline Rankin. I'll tell you what, that Rankin family, that's some really good friends of ours, and they're just some incredible folks with some incredibly great Shorthorn cattle. So this one's a Pursuit out of their Max Rosa cow family that's done a lot of good for them. For reference, you'll remember a couple years ago, would have been 2023, I do believe, they had a bull, and then in the spring of 24, they had a bull that they would have called LPA, the flip side, being Outsider Son out of one of their Max Rosa cows. And so this one shares a similar lineage back there. For reference, flip side would have been purchased by interest would have been purchased by WHR, the Razor family in Texas. WHR would have taken him, and they showed Flip champion Shorthorn bull at Fort Worth Stock Show there. I believe it would have been spring of 24. And like I said, I'll tell you what, you couldn't ask for better people to talk to. And I mean, that's a pretty darn good looking Shorthorn plus female down there as well. Talking to him the other day, that one's actually got some Red Angus lineage in her there on the top side of her dam. So I think just an incredible class all around. Not to mention, we got a lot of color variety in here that I think, you know, the Shorthorn breed is known for. And I really like these pluses. You know, it can be so fun. You got a class out here that ranges from black to redneck roan to a really, really light roan there in the smaller statured female. I think the variety that the Shorthorn Plus female has to offer is truly very exciting, not just in their color pattern, you know, but the kids love that, let's face it, but in terms of their quality as well. I mean, I think, you know, making a breed that can be so good looking and still so flexible in their build, and what I really like about the change I've seen in the Shorthorns over the last 10 years or so is the doability and cow power that we've been demanding we add back into them. Finding bulls that put some real punch and real substance back into these females especially, to me, is what's making them more competitive, and finding bulls who can make these things more competitive on the show heifer side in here and on the show steer side, because like I said, we're adding true muscularity, true doability, true cow power and substance back into these things on a maternal basis. I think that's really, really good.
Over here on the plus side, we've got class heifers with some differences in them. By the way, I've studied all the data for the entire Shorthorn Plus heifer show. There are no outliers in any of the data. That's why I'm not carrying around the page. There's really very little difference. I don't know if they're related or what the deal is, but very little difference in the data, so I won't be making any reference to that. The young lady with the heifer that's going to start the class with the black heifer, she's certainly the highest performing heifer. She's not winning because she's the biggest one. I think she's a very sound heifer as she gets about the ring. I really like the way that she tracks out. She has some extension through her neck, got some rib shape, really attractive heifer to look at. I think the roan heifer follows her in terms of kind. Really like the way she's made up through her front end, the way her neck comes out really high out of that shoulder. She gets out and goes. She doesn't quite move as free off of the hind legs as does the heifer that begins the class, but I think a real attractive heifer that's got the right kind of pattern to it. This heifer in third, I think it's really close between second and third. This is a heifer that's not quite as balanced, as smooth in her makeup from front to end. And when she gets out and goes, we'd like to change the way she moves just a bit off those hind legs as well. But a real attractive heifer, got, I think, some really good pieces in her, going to make a good cow, got some rib shape. The white-faced heifer next in line, giving up some performance, a little finer boned relative to the ones up the lane, but I think a real productive kind of female to make a good cow. Also, would like to change the structure a bit. The heifer that concludes our class, I think, needs to get a little more groceries at home. She's really not ready to go in terms of her condition. I think she needs to spend some time with her mother and get some flesh on her.
All right, Class 4 in our early spring heifer calves. First goes to Samantha Van Voorst, entry 2283, daughter of 24 Carat. Second goes to entry 3260, Madeline Rankin, daughter of FF Pursuit 6H. Coming in next, we got Class 5, entry 3573 for John James Bond. Of Class on Class, Sol Myrtle's Grace from Meyer Family Showhorns. An entry 4592, a Pleasant White Lightning for Pleasant View Farms. Just another duo here in this class, but I'll tell you what, I think it's going to be stacked with a lot of quality. You know, if you've kept an eye on the Shorthorn rings this summer, you know, there's always, you know, those operations that really perform very well at various shows, but I think the run that Meyer Family Shorthorns, Craig Meyer and family went on this summer is very, very impressive, you know, and not just cattle they raised, but, you know, you're going to see them today. Calves out of their bull, MFS Dreamweaver, I think are very, very impressive and very exciting to get to see. You know, there's a few in that purebred show as well that, you know, as I sort through that barn yesterday and the day before, I find incredibly exciting and very different for the Shorthorn breed as well. You know, just some things that they do a pinch differently, and we'll kind of talk about them as we get closer to time when those come in for the purebred show. But I do think some incredibly exciting creatures, no doubt.
I spent most of my career around judging contests and collegiate, some 4 years.
take this opportunity here while Judge Lee Denzer's talking that good four-head of class of Shars over there and kind of breaking them down for the people on that side of the audience to talk a little more about Bovatech. So if you're not as familiar with the company and if you're not from northern and western or northern and eastern regions, you may not be as familiar with us. We're continuing what I like to call our expansion tour. We continue to grow and expand month after month, year after year, and it's truly an exciting place to be. Getting to go up and see the lab when I started my internship with the company there in June of this year was just incredible. You know, for reference, my family had used Bovatech powered by White Oak here in Pennsylvania for a number of years, 4 or 5 years or so. But I'd never experienced the lab side. I just seen the aspiration side of it. Applied for the internship, got to go through the interview process, and move on from there to become an intern with them this summer. We'll talk more about the internship program as we go, but that, like I said, was just an incredible, incredible opportunity to get to be a part of. Seeing that lab and seeing how we do things so differently. And to me, what really makes it neat is seeing the new technology that we bring to the table as a company. That truly, to me, is what makes me so excited to get out of bed every morning and go promote Bovatech from coast to coast. It's IVF has been, a mainstay probably here for, I'd say, the last 10 or so years in the area, utilizing several different companies. But to me, the personalized approach that we at Bovatech take to donor management, as well as semen management on these bulls, and using our history of semen runs on different bulls to get the most pinpoint accuracy and make the highest quality embryo for customers that we can. That's truly what makes me very, very excited to be a sales specialist with this company. And the innovation that they put into it as well. We'll talk more as we continue throughout the day about a little program called Biopsy that, as I've gone around and promoted it to club calf producers, seed stock breeders, show heifer breeders alike, everybody finds it very interesting and what it could do, not only to just progress show genetics, but use a quantum leap forward in genomics could be incredible. Hey, let's hear Judge Mooney's comments on this pair of plus females.
Over here on the Shorthorn Plus side, we've got two heifers that are a little bit different in their kind. We're going to go ahead and start with the young lady's heifer. Actually a relatively close placing for me. I really appreciate the way this heifer's made up through her front end, the way she's made in her top. She's got this heifer fit to the T. I don't know if this heifer, if it's her first show or if she just always is kind of a little nervous, but she would relax. She might move a little better. She kind of gets a little choppy off of her hind feet when she's fighting the halter. Hopefully, as she settles down, that she'll walk more fluidly. It looks like at times she does, but that's the one concern I have about the heifer. I'd like to see her with a little more authority off of those hind legs, but a really attractive heifer, and the young lady has her fit to the T. Young man's heifer next in line, though not as highly fitted, has some really cool things about it. It certainly gives up a lot in terms of the front end, the cleanness through the neck, and the way it's laid in at the shoulder. But this heifer has some shape down her top, got some muscle shape to her. I think she actually moves out a little better off the hind legs than does our heifer that starts the class. I think a really good breeding tool for the young man. I think there's a lot of bulls he can find that can make that front end a little more attractive in her offspring, but it's some really good breeding pieces, and that female, I think, has a lot of potential.
Great pair of females and awesome comments from Judge Mooney on that one. So Class 5, first, 3573, JJB, Classy Kate, 31 CET, exhibited by John James Bond of Gowanda, New York. And second, Pleasant Blue Moon, a Pleasant White Lightning from Pleasant View Farms in Gibbon, West Virginia. Coming back in for our early spring heifer calf champion division, we have entry 2283, CF Mona Lisa 573 for Samantha Van Boris of Bowling Green, Ohio. And we have entry 3573, JJB Classy Kate for John James Bond of Gowanda, New York. I know I keep saying it, but just to get to sit up here, here comes Judge Mooney.
Class 109, Summer Yearling Females. First place goes to entry number 3802. That is BCR Brenda, exhibited by Peyton Kaufman. Second place is entry 5472, TR Miss Mayfield, shown by Jackson Orr. Third place was entry number 4231, exhibited by Caitlin Smith. Fourth place, 3163, shown by Lane Wakeman. We are now selecting our intermediate champion female and reserve.
I'm really proud of this young man here that had the single entry in our first class in this division. He's doing a really nice job with the Charlet heifer, and she has value, and I think she'll be a really, really nice cow. In this division, as I said, though, in this class, these two heifers here are pretty darn nice. I mean, really, really nice. I know there's a lot of sales going on in the fall of the year, and in our part of the country especially, and this pair here are really valuable, and I think they both have some strengths over each other, but I'm very, very impressed. Let's congratulate the exhibitors in this division, and I'll pick your champions.
Over on our plus side, we've got the division champion, and I think it's a really nice group of 4 heifers. The young lady with the younger heifer will be the division champion, and the other class winner will be the reserve. Congratulations to you both.
All right, so your early spring heifer calf champion goes to CF Mona Lisa, 573, 24K ET, exhibited by Samantha Van Voorst of Bowling Green, Ohio, and bred by Kate's Farms. And your reserve division will go to entry 3573, JJB Class E Kate, bred by Meyer Family Shorthorns, known by John James Bond of Gowanda, New York. All right, here we go. Class 8 junior heifer calves. Entry 4178, CP Lady Crystal, MWA 55, exhibited by Atlanta Miles, Jasper, New York. Entry 4260, CF Mona Lisa 535, 24K ET, exhibited by Audrey Robertson at Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. And entry 4458, Cow Creek Pearl, exhibited by Avery Mundy, Hancock, Maryland. I'll tell you what, a great little trio we've got out here of females with some, oh, we got one on the run. Those darn white shorthorns, I'll tell you, they can be, they're either a pet or they bite. No in between. Just kind of depends on how they're feeling that day, too. So actually, Audrey's heifer would be a full sister to the last division champion of Miss Van Voorst's as well. So just showing, to me, that showcases just the quality and consistency that those Kate's bred cattle can find, whether it's on the plus side, the purebred Shorthorn side, or there on the Angus side. I truly think the undeniable quality that operation has come up with over years and years, and the consistency that they've continued to turn out, whether it's bulls or high-end females, and cattle that can generate too. You know, if we think about watching that Plus Bull show a little bit ago, Piper shows the champion Plus Bull. Samantha Van Voorst shows the reserve Plus Bull that's actually out of a primo daughter that she would have acquired from the Kate's operation. And to me, like I said, just highlights not only the kind of females that can come and play in a setting like this, but the kind that can also be productive long-term in production, and they can impact in this breed. And that's just what we need more of, plain and simple.
Over here on the Shorthorn Plus side, we've got a class of 3. I think the black heifer is probably the most complete. I really like the way she's made up through her front end and the way her shoulder blade lays in. Got some rib shape to her, has a nice long stride. I think a very attractive heifer. A lot of good things about this Blue Roan. Really like the extra muscle she has, especially into her quarter. Could maybe smooth her up just a touch in her shoulder to make her competitive with the heifer above her, but you really like some of her pieces, got a little more bone to her as well, and is a pretty sound heifer. The white heifer is having a rough day, giving us a hard time getting a look at her, but I think relative to the other heifers, she just needs a little more time, has a lot of really good things about her, like her front end, the way she's laid in at her shoulder, and I think as she gets used to this show ring thing, hopefully he'll settle down for the young man, give him a chance to compete, because again, a heifer that has a lot of good things about her. She's actually walking a little better right now. I think in time, hopefully she'll settle down and give this young man a good shot. Congratulations.
Great trio there in Class 8. Lead off first, 4260 for Audrey Robertson at Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. Second, entry 4178. That's the CP Lady Crystal MWA 55 for Lana Miles at Jasper, New York. Third, entry 4458. Cow Creek Pearl for Avery Mundy, Hancock, Maryland. Coming in now, single entry Class 9. Entry 1009, MWM, WT Coconut Rum for Matthew Mullins of Barrelton, West Virginia.
The first, January 18th, 2025.
Hard to miss this one in this pair. Tremendous, she just absolutely tremendous female in terms of she just looks like such a great cow. But I really love the amount of mass, the amount of muscle, the amount of body she has. But more importantly, with that much body and mass and muscle, she handles it so well. She's so sound. She fills her track perfect, and yet she's really long-fronted and very, very feminine appearing. And she just looks like you could turn her out anywhere in the country, and she'll produce year after year. That's a phenomenal female. Congratulations. The heifer in second, not taking anything away from her, because I see value in her from the standpoint of she's got some shape across her loin. She's also very shapely when you get in behind her through her quarter. And she's still really high-headed, really slim-necked. And from a composition standpoint, you know, the other heifer might be to have a little more on her maybe for her age, but she's starting to drop in calf. And this one here, really, really nice female, just really gets outpowered in this pair.
Just a single entry over on the Shorthorn Plus side, a heifer that I think needs a little more performance to be competitive. It's just a single entry. Thank you very much.
Results of
All right, single entry class. So first goes entry 1009 for Matthew Mullins of Virginia. Coming back in, we're going to have our first and second from class 1. And first, that would be Audrey Robertson of Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. And then in second, that'll be Lana Miles of Jasper, New York. And I think it's going to be a really solid division. Excited to roll into these falls and winter calves next here in our winter heifer calf and our senior heifer calf divisions, which will be, like I said, coming up here momentarily after we sort through this division. So
First place goes to entry number 4241. That is SAC Annalise, exhibited by Peter Hoffines. Second place was 3271, TCC Smoke and Monty, shown by Circle R Cattle Company. Now in the ring is Class 113, early spring yearlings.
Over here on the plus side, we've got a division champion. The two younger heifers from that class will be the champion of the reserve. Congratulations to you.
Here on our plus side, junior heifer calf champion goes to Audrey Robertson, and reserve goes to Lana Biles. Coming in next, we're going to have Class 12, single entry, entry 1230, HHF Clarice, son of HHF Sampson the Charmer for Samantha Heston of Street, Maryland. You'll recognize the name. Sampson was also the sire of her 2-year-old champion bull there just earlier in the plus show. So single entry here. I'll go ahead and turn it over to Judge Mooney's comments here momentarily.
Another single entry in the plus division. A heifer that's a little on the green side. I'd like to see her get a few more groceries to be in show shape, but heifer that's got some femininity to her and some rib shape. Hopefully she'll make a good cow for the young lady.
All right, like I said, first in that class, single entry goes to entry 1230 for Samantha Heston. Coming in now, big white female there for entry 543, AAS Margie's Pearl. Bred, known by Reese McNutt of Bel Air, Maryland. A daughter of Care, HH Ignite 0235 ET. Let's turn it over to Judge Mooney.
The Heston from Street, Maryland. We now have class 13 in the ring, senior heifer calf.
On our plus side, we got another single entry, a female that certainly could stand some competition. We'll talk about her some more when we pick our champion later. Really nice heifer.
Hey, like Judge Mooney said, a really nice female there. So we're going to bring back Samantha Heston's heifer as well as Reese McNutt's heifer for senior heifer calf champion. Both single entries, so we'll see what Judge Mooney has to say, and I'll be back with you momentarily.
Once again, you Charolais breeders have a great pair of females here with a lot to offer the breed. Going to start with the heifer that I think her strengths really lie in the fact that she's a bit more correct along her top line, a bit smoother from hooks to pens, and she's just a bit more powerful in her look. But I tell you what, and you can't hardly build one much better along her top line than this one. She's so good at the top of her shoulder and all the way back, and yet sometimes when they get that ideal in their top line, they don't want to move out quite as free and easy, and yet she gets out and goes with a really good step, and she's not maybe as really way out there in terms of her head and neck, but her face and her neck are still very maternal looking, but just a powerful female that really well balanced, tremendously big body, and holds itself together incredible when she gets out and moves. This heifer here is incredible through the point of her shoulder forward. I mean, she is incredibly long fronted, way out there in terms of from the shoulder right up, and her length of face and length of front end just reeks of femininity, and she too is pretty darn good striding on both ends of her framework. She has some true natural width throughout her body, through her forerib, through her flank, out here through her hip. Not quite as strong along her top line, but she definitely has an advantage and a little more extension as you view her through her front end. Really a high quality pair of March heifers.
Over here on the plus side, got a division champion we're selecting. A young lady with the white heifer will be the division champion. It's a female that's a handful to show, but this heifer, the way her neck is made and it comes out of her shoulder, she's got some muscle to her. She's really good out through her hip. I think if she'd settle down, we'd see a heifer going out with a really good stride. She seems to be a really sound heifer. Got a lot of good things about her. Hopefully, as the day goes on, she'll settle down a little and work with the young lady to get her shown. But that's a really attractive heifer to win the division, and our red heifer will be reserved.
All right, senior heifer calf champion. Congrats to entry 543, Reese McNutt, and reserved entry 1230, Samantha Heston. And so, you know, he talked about it. That white female there, that would actually be one of the first calves Out of that, HH Ignite bull carrier, HH Ignite, now owned by Adam Pettit and Ryan Cairns. And Ryan, Adam, if you're out there listening, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but that's a Red Knight out of a Hill Haven bred cow. And so that would be one of the first calves out of his rookie crop. And to see the quality that guy's making, as well as the quality of another female Adam's bringing to the Legends of the Fall Sale, makes me excited to see what he's going to do for those guys in production long term. Single entry here, entry 351 for Allison Schmuck, Somerset, Pennsylvania.
Another single entry on the Shorthorn Plus side, heifer that certainly has a tremendous amount of muscle shape to her, pretty sound heifer. They got her full as a tick. I don't know that she needs to be quite that full, but she's an interesting heifer to evaluate. We'll talk about her some more a little bit later.
All right, Class 16 single entry will also be your intermediate champion female for Allison Schmuck with Tequila Rose. That's a DJS the Outsider out of an ANS Sammy cow. That one actually must come in a little higher than 50% because she's got her dam's got an AR number as well, so she'd be a plus female herself. Coming in here now, Class 19, early spring yearling females, 4961. SVV Mona Lisa 425 FERET, owned by Ella Pietrin of St. Clairsville, Ohio. Entry 2232 CF Mona Lisa 484 24 KET, exhibited by Grady McGrew of Gettysburg, PA. Entry 1007 MWM JW Firestorm, exhibited by Matthew Mullins of Virginia. And entry 3912 RWFC Crystal's Limit, exhibited by Alyssa Slimmer, Cavetown, Maryland. Man, I think that's an awesome pair of 4 females out there, and really we're starting to get into the very deep thick of it here in these plus females that got a lot of quality to them. I mean, we all know how heterosis and how hybrid vigor perform and how it just seems to be, to me anyway, as a Shorthorn breeder, the plus cattle are so fun and you can make them so different. And I'm not just talking in terms of their color pattern, because we got 2 blacks, a semi-blue, and a black and white out there. But, man, I will tell you what, just in terms of some quality pieces as well. Hey, I'll tell you what, a fun story in this class. So, Miss Slimmer out there on the tail end. My last junior national would have been 2024. The year it was there in Baltimore, Maryland, Timonium, there at Maryland State Fairgrounds. And my K-State teammate, Quinna Molden, who's now the livestock judging coach at New Mexico State University, come a long way from Virginia there, Q-Dog. She needed some teammates for a fitting team. Alyssa needed some teammates. Another friend of hers needed a teammate. Quinna needed an extra one. So they awoke me from a nap in my camper and said, will you come help us? Sure. I didn't think I was, Mr. Super Fitter or anything. So we go in and just kind of put 4 ragtag people together. We wound up being 5th overall fitting team there at the senior fitting team there at Junior Nationals. And so it was just a really fun thing to get to be a part of, and something neat and something different. And she's always at the helm of some pretty darn good ones, I think. And so, yeah, Judge Mooney's getting them placed here, so we'll see his comments and what he's got to say.
Over here on the Plus Shorthorn show, got a really nice pair of heifers to start this class. I think the black heifer really finds the top of the class pretty soundly for me. She's made structurally about as good as I think one could be made. She gets out and goes, tracks out, covers her track. Very good the way that she moves. She's made good up through her front end, got some rib shape to her, really good out through her rump, a really attractive female, a lot of good things about her. Really nice effort to follow her in second, another good one that I think structurally sound, just doesn't have quite as much power as a heifer ahead of her, but a very attractive female, I think, that gets out and goes, maybe even has a bit more foot size and bone to her, but a lot of power in that first heifer. Really nice pair of females to start the class. Heifer next in line, kind of fighting the young man, but heifer that's got some good pieces in her. I think has a future ahead of her as a brood cow, but you know, she's kind of on the fight today, but she doesn't have the performance to compete with the ones that win the class. And the young lady's heifer that completes her class is giving up some performance to be competitive in this particular class.
All right, results of Class 19. First goes to Ella P. Tranton, and if I'm pronouncing that wrong, Eric, family, I'm sorry. Second goes to entry 3912, Alyssa Slimmer of Cavetown, Maryland. Third goes to entry 2332, Grady McGrew of Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. Fourth goes to entry 1007 of Matthew Mullins of Virginia. Coming in now, we've got Class 22, 2 entries in this class. Entry 1218, Blatt Acres Cassicardi for Haley Blatt of Robisonia, PA. And entry 1232, HHF Cindy Lou of Samantha Heston of Street, Maryland, another daughter of Samson the Charmer.
We have 2 heifers in this division ranging in age from January 1st to January 5th. Again, this will determine your champion junior female division.
Once again, a very high quality set of Charolais females. I think the first pair are really close. There's some give and take in that pair. I chose for the more attractive of the pair. I just think she's a little higher headed. I really love this heifer down her top line. I love her side view profile. I just think that look right there is tremendous. And she gets out and goes, you know, adequately well. Time or two, you think maybe she gets a little tight in her top line, but when she goes in motion, she really lets it go, and she's got a really good step up front and gets out and goes pretty smooth behind. And then when you get right behind her, there's a lot of female in there. But I really, really give her the tremendous advantage for being the high-quality profiling female that has that look that we like to win the class. There's no question in my mind and this judge's opinion that we have more muscle, we have more bone, we have more just total mass and power in the second place heifer. She's really powerful in her top, through her center body, through her rib, her width of base, and I just think it's so important to keep just power and mass in these cattle, and she's got all of that. Maybe a tick rounder out through her hip than the other heifer, but a really good pair. And the first heifer Sacrifice is quite a bit of that in terms of the mass and substance of that heifer in second. The heifer in third, she's got plenty of shape and plenty of quality as well. She just doesn't want to get out and move quite as free and easy on either end of her framework compared to that pair of heifers that started the lineup.
Over here on the plus side, we've got a class of 2. The young lady, the black heifer, will win the class. I think she has an advantage in terms of the way that she's made through her shoulder and she gets out and goes. Very long-bodied female. Like her, the way she moves off of her hind legs, really good out through her hip. Very attractive, broody kind of female. Certainly some good pieces in the red heifer. She's got some muscle mass to her and some rib shape. Just like to change her up through her front end a little bit and maybe have her move off those hind legs a little better. But a heifer that has some breeding potential in her, I think, can make the young lady a good cow.
All right, Class 22 first goes to entry 1218 of Haley Blatt, Robisonia, PA. And entry second goes to entry 1232 HHF Cindy Lou Who of Samantha Heston of Street, Maryland. Coming up, we got Class 25, be our last class of the Plus Female Show. That's going to be senior yearling females. Single entry, entry 4593. Pleasant Penelope, a daughter of Pleasant White Lightning, exhibited by Pleasant View Farms of Gibbon, West Virginia. Here comes that gold female now, and she's a single, so we'll hear what Judge Mooney's comments are here shortly.
Another single entry in the Shorthorn Plus division, a heifer that has some really good pieces in her, got some power to her, some rib shape. It's got some thickness to her as she gets out and goes. Looking behind her now, it looks like she's starting to spring a little bit, which I like to see certainly in females they get to this age. But a really good heifer that certainly, if you're looking for some muscle, this is the kind of female you want to look for. Very nice female.
A real powerhouse female there to round out our Plus Heifer show. So as that one gets pulled back around, let me go ahead and we'll recap our division champions and our division reserves here as we've gone through the Shorthorn Plus Female show. All right, so late spring heifer calves division champion goes to entry 106. That's Matthew Mullins of Virginia. In our early spring heifer calf division champion goes to entry 2283. That is CF Mona Lisa 573 24 KET, exhibited by Samantha Van Vorst of Bowling Green, Ohio. And then the reserve goes to entry 3573. Which is JJB Classy Kate, exhibited by John James Bond of Gowanda, New York. In our junior heifer calf division, champion goes to entry number 4260, Audrey Robertson of Gettysburg, PA, with CF Mona Lisa 535 24 KET, a full sister to the last division champion. Reserve goes to entry 4178, CP Lady Crystal MWA 55, bred and owned by Atlanta Miles of Jasper, New York. We get into our winter heifer calf division. Champion goes to entry 543, Reese McNutt, with AASC Margie's Pearl, a daughter of Care HH Ignite. And reserve goes to entry 1230, Samantha Heston, with HHF Clarice, a daughter of HHF Samson the Charmer. Single entry in our intermediate champion female, that goes to entry 351, Tequila Rose, exhibited by Allison Schmuck, a daughter of DJS the Outsider. In our early spring champion female, champion goes to entry 4961, exhibited by Ella P. Dranton of St. Clairsville, Ohio, with SVV Mona Lisa 425 FERET. Reserve goes to entry 3912, Alyssa Slimmer with RWFC Crystal's Limit, a daughter of TSSC BT Limit Up. In our junior heifer calf champion division, champion goes to 1218, Blatt Acres Classy Cardi, a CSF backdraft daughter, owned and bred and owned by Haley Blatt of Robisonia, PA. And then our reserve in that division goes to entry 1232, HHF Cindy Lou Hu, a daughter of HHF Samson the Charmer once again, exhibited by Samantha Heston of Street, Maryland. And our champion our senior yearling champion female, single entry, exhibited by Pleasant View Farms of Gibbon, West Virginia, entry 4593, Pleasant Penelope, a daughter of Pleasant White Lightning. So I think, like we've talked about a lot today as we examine this Plus division and I look at them here from my vantage point kind of up in the sky here, not only do we have a multitude of colors, but we got a multitude of different kinds as well. That's, to me, that's what makes the Plus division challenging at times, but also so fun as well, because you can bring so many different kinds of high-quality females, whether they're one that, as I sit here and look out, I see kinds of females that I think are going to be incredible steer generators down the road for these young folks, whether it's raising their own show steers or selling some down the road, and then just some incredible females as well from a femininity perspective and a build quality angle that I'm confident are going to go out and be generators for them long-term, making them junior show heifer prospects and competing in that bred and known division, which, you know, I myself find very, very fun and enjoyable. They take these things and start them to lead. I think you've got a lot of quality here from top to bottom, nose to tail, all the way from our first division down into our last. And like I just keep saying, so many different kinds. I think, you know, you would be challenged to find, you know, every breed does something very good. I think that the differences in quality that you can find in the Shorthorn Plus breed, like I keep saying, what makes it so challenging, but what also makes it so fun. I tell you what, I know we're on the Shorthorn side here, but I crane my head and I watch some of this white cow show, the Charolais show that Mr. Lee Denzer's sorting over here on my right, and just some incredible females I see there. Hey, congrats to the Danley crew there from Washington, PA. It looks like they had a second in class. She's back out here for this division drive, and I mean, that is a tough division out there, a lot of quality. I mean, this white cow show looks like it's been really, really fun for Mr. Denzer to sort out there. Almost as fun as we're having on this plus side over here with Mr. Mooney. Like I said, I just think it's an incredibly deep show we've got here today.
Get your shit together, you know, just pay attention. And, you know, just stand here. And if you're not ready, you better get ready, because the quality just comes. And yeah, you got give and take and all of the above, but I'm brutally honest. You know, I speak from my heart. Sometimes it maybe doesn't go in the same direction, but I tell you, I'm really impressed with the quality. I knew I would be. I love these Charolais cattle and what they can contribute to our beef industry, and I really appreciate loving looking at these females and just looking at small differences. But I think the 6 head that you have out here represents your breed very well. These 3 class winners they're truly, their strengths are tremendous, and they really are elite cattle, and I'm very honored to even have the chance to judge them here. And this division is one of those divisions that you really, I think that's why we show. It's enjoyable, and just to be in the heat of the moment is really cool. So before I select a champion in reserve in this division, I would ask you to give these breeders a really nice round of applause for a really powerful set of heifers here. And then I'll get you a champion in reserve. Congratulations to all you exhibitors, and thanks for letting me talk about them.
Well, over here on the Shorthorn Plus side, it's certainly been my pleasure to evaluate these cattle. There are certainly some differences in them, as you might expect to see in a group like this with a lot of genetic diversity. Certainly in the Shorthorn Plus, depending upon what type of cattle you're trying to produce, you might use some different tools, and I think we're seeing some of that out here. I think as we go through our classes, the young man with the first heifer, his heifer really needs more performance to compete at all in this lineup, certainly. The young lady with the heifer from the second group, real attractive female, really nice made up through her shoulder. I think has some good shape to her. I think a lot of potential in that heifer. I'm not sure if she moves off her hind legs as good as I would really want her to, but a lot of that could be with the fact that she's a young heifer and maybe not quite got this show ring thing all figured out, but a really attractive female, a lot of good things about her. Heifer from the next division, really like the little bit of extra muscle she has in her, like her rib shape. I think a heifer that has a very complete look to her and is going to make a good female. I think the white heifer, as I mentioned when we talked about her earlier, a very intriguing female to evaluate. It has some differences in her in terms of her extension through her neck and her front end. I think that she's certainly a heifer with a lot of muscle in her, and I think as time comes on and she settles in and relaxes and gets used to the show ring thing, she's going to be a power to be reckoned with. A lot of good pieces in her. I would really appreciate getting her to slow down her pace just a little bit so I could evaluate her movement relative to some of the others. But I don't see anything particularly that bothers me, but since she's kind of fighting on the halter a little bit, sometimes you have a hard time. But when you get her stopped, and like she is now, she's got her head up, that's a very attractive female to look at. The heifer that comes from our next division, I think certainly is the heifer with the muscle, if that's what you're looking for. She has some really good things about her. I think she's structurally sound. For me, she's just a touch, you know, I don't want to use the word terminal, but she's just a little, not quite as much brood cow in her as some of the other ones. I'd like to see her a little looser in her middle, a little deeper, but boy, that heifer is made right. She's got some good feet and legs under her, and she's got some muscle in her. Really a good breeding tool. I think there's a lot of potential things you could do with it. The young lady from the next division with the big black heifer, this is a heifer that's really sound, really put some pieces together. She's laid in right at her shoulder. Her neck comes out really high out of the top of her shoulder. She's a real feminine female, and she gets out and goes well when we have her on the move. I think there's a lot of things to appreciate about that heifer. I think the heifer that follows her from the next division is giving up some body, certainly, some depth of rib, some spring of rib compared to the division ahead of her. But she's a very long-bodied female. I think also is structurally a real sound kind of female. A lot of good things about her. And then the female from our oldest division, got plenty of muscle in her. If we were going to change her a little bit, we'd like to clean her up through her front end just a bit. But that's a powerful heifer. Got a lot of muscle and mass to her. A lot of choices to make here for me. The champion's relatively logical after that. I think there's some choices to make, but I'll go congratulate the exhibitor of the champion, and then I'll take a bit of a look and pick a reserve.
We just have one entry in our senior division here. Boy, she could stand a lot of competition. This one's built pretty darn good. Extremely attractive, extremely well balanced. She's really good at the ground. Just takes such a good stride on both ends of her framework. And for her age, I really compliment this exhibitor. I really like her composition. I mean, she's not overly wasteful. She's due in the spring. And she just looks to me like she's just going to be a great cow prospect, and I really like this heifer quite a bit. She could easily be competitive in a much bigger division or much bigger class, so congratulations.
All right, on our Shorthorn Plus side, your champion plus female goes to entry 4961. SVV Mona Lisa 425 FERET, exhibited by Ella P. Tranton of St. Clairsville, Ohio. That's a daughter of Sol Ferrari 6597D and a daughter of CSF Mona Lisa 934 Primo ET. Reserve females entry 3912. That's RWFC Crystal's Limit 22M. Bred and owned by Alyssa Slimmer of Cavetown, Maryland, a daughter of TSSC BT Limit Up 1099 JET, and HF Crystal Judy 1471 ET. great pair of females there, and as they head over to talk more at the picture booth and get their pictures, I'll discuss a little more on that. Like I talked about earlier, the power and the quality that comes out of the Kate's operation is just showcased again right there. Although the female that goes and wins the show isn't one that necessarily they raise, that one comes from the Van Voris operation out of a female that would have come from them. And I'll tell you what, that heifer's been on a big hot streak there in the eastern Ohio areas this summer. And so that one was actually sold on Miguel and Jorge Leon's online sale and SC Online. I've reached out to Jorge to get a new date for you guys and Miguel to touch base and get a new date with you guys on when that sale is going to be this year. But, man, you want to talk about some guys that really know their quality. That family also had Grand and Reserve Red Angus females and Grand Red Angus bull there yesterday. So like I said, those boys, they know their cattle. They know their cattle got to be good and stout and have the right kind of substance to them, but still be ladylike on the heifer side, but still keeping them masculine enough on the bull sides. What I really respect about them, the knowledge they bring to the table about a diversified array of breeds as well and how to manage those from all the way from reds to Shorthorns, Shars, limb flexes, you name it. I can't really think of a breed that they haven't found some very good success in across the board. So those guys are really, really sharp. Like I said, waiting on a new date for this fall's sale to get you guys for the Leon brothers. They're at St. Clairsville, Ohio. So, guys, I'll tell you what, as we sit here and we wait for them to go ahead and start the Purebred Bull Show, like I said, that really got my blood pumping this morning with the plus bull and female shows. I mean, I think a lot of really, really high-quality ones across the board in those aspects, and it's been super, super fun. I'll talk a little more about Bovatech now because that's part of the reason I'm here, right, to kind of talk about the good word of Bovatech and what we do as a company. And so, 1 second. I really love Bovatech. So for reference, like I talked about, worked with the company for probably 5 years or so as a customer from that side of things. And then a couple years ago, I saw they have an internship program, and I found it really intriguing, going from Pennsylvania to Illinois to Kansas. I love to travel. I love to get to go to stock shows, meet new people, and talk about new things, and most importantly, get to see some really great cattle. And so when I saw this internship opportunity, applied when I was a junior at Kansas State, got to go through the interview process with Mr. Ageter and Mr. Clay Sundberg down there at Oklahoma City, there at the Cattlemen's Congress. Clay, congrats, man. He ought to be getting married here in the next month or so. I believe they're the first part of November, so really exciting for him. But went through the interview process there, like I said, and actually wasn't selected to be the beef sales intern that summer. But I got to come back in my senior year, and I decided I was going to reapply. And I got to do another interview with Dr. Chantel Campbell and Riley Zettel, our dairy sales specialist, and to get to work with them through that process was really exciting. So, guys, I really encourage you, if you're a young person, you're in college, and you really are passionate and motivated about the reproduction industry, even if you don't have experience with IVF, but you've got a willingness and passion to learn about it, I really encourage you to apply for that. So this year they actually took 2 interns. So myself and Matt Bruns from North Platte, Nebraska, were fortunate enough to be the beef sales interns for this summer. So the way that worked is you get to go up to Madison for training for for about a week. And then they're going to put you on the road in a nice car with some awesome equipment and more importantly, a wealth of knowledge. And not just a wealth of knowledge about the IVF industry, but a wealth of knowledge about why Bovatech, to me, is the best IVF company to work with, hands down. And, everybody could say that, oh, we're the best. But when you really break down the stats and figures and you understand how things work in the lab and you understand why we do what we do, and to reiterate what Dr. Krauscher said yesterday, the emphasis on quality that we as a company put on the product that we deliver to you, the customer, it was a no-brainer for me. I could never go work for another IVF firm, and I could, more importantly, never take my cows to another one. So, like I said, that internship process was absolutely incredible. I believe between Matt and myself, we hit 7 or 8 different junior nationals from Tulsa all the way up to Louisville and on up to Grand Island, Nebraska. We covered some serious miles this summer, and it was a really good time getting to spend some time with somebody who I knew adjacently. That was another fun part of the process. So, This was the first year they'd taken 2 beef sales interns. Normally it was just one, but they'd started to talk there. Of course, the always great Kane Ageter has moved on and is now director of seed stock marketing with the American Hereford Association. And even before he'd taken that job, they discussed how valuable it is to continue to have your beef sales specialist out on the road instead of cooped up in one place at a time for the week. And so they had already had that in discussion. So as we continued to move through that process, they decided to hire 2 of us, but neither of us knew it at the time. So we go through, we accept the internships, and then it's probably the week before graduation. They email us the schedule as we're getting closer to summertime, and Dr. Campbell says, "Oh, yourself and Matt Bruns." At the time, she hadn't fully pieced together that we were both K-Staters, and she said when she figured that out, she was like, "Well, Lord, I hope they get along." Fortunate enough for Dr. Campbell, we sure did. Matt's brother Blake was a member of the same judging team I was on at Kansas State there, the 2024 team. And so I was very familiar with Blake. Matt and I actually shared a backyard right there on Northfield Road. If I was house 621, he would have had to have been house probably 617 if I had to shade a guess. And so we all shared a backyard there and knew each other pretty well, but to get to know Matt better this summer was a really good and very fortunate experience that I got to have. And not only did I learn a lot this summer, but I also gained an incredible lifelong friend in that experience as well. So like I said, the internship is absolutely great. And of course, as you could tell, I'm still here. So since I graduated in May, right, they decided they wanted to keep me on, and they added me to the sales team as a beef sales specialist. So we are now a team that covers a broad area there. I remember the one week I talked about in a Facebook Live, in a video, there was 3 of us, and we were in 3 different time zones, So Mr. David Powell is one of our other beef sales specialists, and I'll tell you what, a guy who's got such a wide array of knowledge when it comes to the seed stock sector. Dave's got a strong, storied history with Angus operations and as an Angus sales manager as well. And the wealth of knowledge that guy brings to the table of an industry that I'm not as familiar with. Let's face it, I grew up in southwestern Pennsylvania more on a hobby-style farm, and we've continued to grow and diversify in what we do. And it's been really good, right? But we always ran less than 30 cows. So to talk to Dave, a guy who's come from places where they've been running hundreds, if not thousands of head of cows, and knowing how we can manage those things and generate the most profit from them as well, while putting the most into them that we possibly can and getting the best results out. How we can do commercial IVF on a big scale in the beef sector and capitalize on the results that we can get for our customers, I think is absolutely incredible. And then getting to talk to Riley as well, our dairy sales specialist. I think, like I said, just another incredible opportunity. Dairy's not super big in the area where I grew up anymore, not as big as it was at one time. So getting to pick Riley's brain about the dairy industry and things they do and how he as a dairyman thinks we could continue to grow and improve as a beef industry and as beef sales specialist is very unique and intriguing to me, because let's face it, the 2 sectors, although both working on the large ruminant, they do things very differently, right? So finding a way that we can continue to do better with our marketing strategies for both of those firms is great. And then, of course, getting to work under Dr. Chantel Campbell is just always a blessing. The wealth of knowledge that she brings from the table through her doctorate of reproductive physiology, and her years of experience there at the universities of Nebraska, Colorado, and Minnesota, the things she's seen, the things she's learned. I hope one day I can know half as much as that woman's forgotten. I mean, truly, the wealth of knowledge that she brings to the table makes me very excited to be a part of this team, and I'm very fortunate that they decided to keep me on, and I consider myself highly blessed. So like I said, guys, if you're a freshman to senior and you're interested in the repro industry, look at that internship. Vet school kids, we've got an internship for you as well. So between your 2nd and 3rd year, we've got an internship for vet kids who have a strong repro interest. We call that our OPU internship. And so we had another great Shorthorn kid with us there this summer. We had 2 actually awesome OPU interns, one from Tennessee and one from Indiana there. And what those guys do is they'll come receive some of the same training from us up in Madison, and then we put them on the road as well. And so I believe that one of them went to They'll both start in Wisconsin, California, Idaho, and they cover a lot of ground down through southeast Kansas. And then another one kind of went more eastward and up into New York, Pennsylvania, and covered some of more our eastern territory. So, you know, it was just a very, very unique experience to get to put those kids out. And not only do you get to get some OPU experience, not necessarily OPUing cows, but learning the whole process, and you're going to learn it from some of our best partner veterinarians, and we love all of our partner veterinarians, but to me the key there is that we're putting you in front of some who are aspirating the most, you know, like Dr. Bill Krauscher, for example, you know, aspirating several thousand cows a year like he told me yesterday. The way we can capitalize and get you in front of those guys who have the most experience is really just a super, super exciting time. So guys, we're getting ready to start our Purebred Bull Show here. Class 1 late spring bull calves, entry 2451, Ike Smo from Jacob Eichenlaub, Mifflinburg, PA. Entry 638, BMH Coco from Bailey Hawk, Petersburg, PA. Entry 3207, CLF VCC Casper from Joshua Blakeman of Oak Hill, Ohio, and Cedar Lane Farm, Cedarville, Ohio. 3 entries in this class, guys, ranging in age from May 7th, 2025 to June 9th of 2025 here. So a good little trio of bulls to kick off our show. We'll see how Judge Mooney likes these, and then we're going to have a lot of fun as we continue to get into this show, and I'll talk more about some of these respective sire groups of bulls. But like I said, I think it's going to be an incredibly exciting opportunity.
First class of Shorthorn bull calves. We're going to start with the young man's white bull calf. I think he combines the most things together. Obviously, all these calves are pretty green, very young yet, but I think this guy's got a sound structure to him. He gets out and goes. I think he has some indication he has some shape. It'll be interesting to see how his shoulder looks as he gets a little more, condition on him. He looks to me like he moves real sound. Just like to see him as he gets a little more mature. Young lady's roan bull calf will be second. This calf that's got some muscularity in terms of his appearance. Again, a real green calf, not quite as much rib shape, not quite as square out through his rump as the young man's bull that wins the class. Then the young man that concludes their class has a calf that's given up some performance relative to the two ahead of him. Really nice calf to win the class.
Hey, good trio of Shorthorn bulls to start us off there. Class 1 late spring bull calves. First, 3207 CLF VCC Casper 2502, owned by Joshua Blakeman and Cedar Lane Farms, both of Ohio. Second, entry 638 BMH Coco 02, owned by Bailey Hawk, Petersburg, PA. Third, entry 2451 Ike Smo, Jacob Eichenlaub, Mifflinburg, PA. So that bull that's first, 3207, that'd be one of the first calves out of that bull CLF Big Dog there of the Winkle families, Jeff and I believe Susan Winkle. Just some incredible people to deal with as well who help manage the Ohio Beef Expo Shorthorn sale there too. Class 4 early spring bull calves, entry 3270, LPA in motion, exhibited by Madeline Rankin of Centerville, PA. Entry 3205, CLF Patch Adams. exhibited by Cedar Lane Farm of Cedarville, Ohio. Like I talked about earlier, the Rankin family not just being great friends, but also incredible cattlemen as well. The bull leading off there, this is part of the inaugural calf crop of that bull. I talked about LPA, the flip side. And so, like I said, a bull that found a lot of success there in his rookie crop as well. You know, I talked to him the other day. The Razor family, WHR, had some high sellers in their Lone Star sale. One at 26 and one at 15.5, I do believe, is the numbers that were recited to me, and an onslaught more of them from there on down that still sold very high and very consistently. The consistency that this bull stamps his calf crop with, and you know, it comes with a lot of look like him. And that little bull calf puts me in mind a lot of Flip. His stoutness, his density. Let's hear from Judge Mooney.
Well, we're in our Shorthorn show. We've got a couple of bull calves that have some differences in them. I'm going to start with the young man's bull that certainly has some muscle mass to him. As you look down his top, he's a bull that looks to me like he's going to be a little larger framed bull at maturity, which is consistent with his yearling EPD, but that's not the reason why he wins the class. I think he puts some things together and combines them a little better in terms of his length of body, the way he's made out through his hip, and the way he gets out and goes. Young lady's bull calf certainly has some positive things about him as well, and if you were going to change that pair, you'd do it because he's a little soggier bodied, but in terms of muscle down the top and into the quarter, I think the other bull has that advantage, but this bull certainly is a little neater maybe in its front end and has that rib shape. So there certainly are some trade-offs. My preference is for the performance. I think the bull that wins the class is a little stronger right off his hind legs, but two really nice calves.
All right, Class 4 early spring bull calves first. CLF Patch Adams, a son of Violent Flash, 9U106, exhibited by Cedar Lane Farm of Cedarville, Ohio. Second, LPA in Motion, a son of LPA the Flip Side, exhibited by Madeline Rankin of Centerville, PA. Coming in now, single entry, junior bull calves. Entry 3203, CLF Destined, owned by Cedar Lane Farm, Cedarville, Ohio.
To LPA in Motion, owned and bred by Madeline Rankin of Centerville, Pennsylvania. In the ring at this time, we have Class 7, a single entry of 3203. This will be your junior bull champion at the conclusion of the class.
Just a single entry in this particular class on the Shorthorn side. Red, white-legged bull. It certainly has some good things about him. We'll talk about him more when we bring him out later. But bull that gets out and goes, I think, pretty sound.
Your champion, junior bull calf, is entry 3203, CLF Destined, 2427, a son of ECC, Ain't No Foolin', 1701 ET, bred and owned by Cedar Lane Farm of Cedarville, Ohio. Coming in now, we'll have another single entry, Class 10, late spring yearling bulls, a June 20th, 2024, son of SRV Quiet Man, BEG Big Man Zig. Bred and owned by Elizabeth Gauger of Saylorsburg, Pennsylvania. Coming in now, big white bull there. But as they do their division over here, or their grand drive, it appears over here on the Charlet side, like I was saying there about Flip Side, for the Rankin family, just I think an incredible sire prospect that I know myself and my family are very excited to try out. And then on the other hand, Patch Adams, a Flash son from Cedar Lane. You know, I think those Flash cattle have really set the seed stock, Shorthorn world, and the show world on fire as well. Not just because of that bull's, that that bull has the ability to really sire some punchy offspring that have genuine dimension, true substance, and it's very exciting to see real cow power injected into these things, but still a bull that could take and really bend the curve in terms of some genetics. You know, a bull that is very impressive in the way he could drive up dollar BMI and dollar CPI values as well as dollar F values. I truly find that very impressive. The way he could take them so far forward in their genetic script in a singular generation is very intriguing to me. You know, we've used that bull with some success at home as well, and have sold some incredible females out of him, and it's just been a very exciting bull to get to have the ability to use in our breed. Of course, bred and owned by the Great Violent Operation and Paint Valley there in Millersburg, Ohio. You know, you want to talk about some incredible Shorthorn bulls, and it's one of the premier places to find them in bulk, especially east of the Mississippi. You know, I'll be honest, we haven't had any white cows around our spot for a while now. I mean, we had some composites and whatnot over the years, but getting to kind of crane my head to the right, like I said, and see the quality and depth in this Charlet show is just very, very, very exciting about the future of what these quality white cattle can be. Here we go, turn it back over to Judge Mooney.
Thank you very much.
Over on the Shorthorn side, we've just got a single entry, a really nice big bone white bull. Got some muscle to him. We'll talk about him some more when we select our champion in just a few moments, but really complete kind of bull that's got some power to him. Be interested to see him against the rest of them.
All right, Class 10 late spring yearling bulls, single entry first to 2671, BEG Big Man Zig, bred and owned by Elizabeth Gauger, Saylorsburg, Pennsylvania. Coming in next, looks like we've got another single entry in our early spring yearling bulls. A bull that's no, you know, stranger to the show ring. CF in demand, a son of CF pay weight XET. Out of the Red Banana ET cow, a bull that's had a lot of success over the years, from Louisville over the year, Oklahoma City, Louisville, you name it. This guy has found himself a lot of good in the show ring, and it's very easy to see why. Bred by Kate's Farms of Modoc, Indiana, owned by Gypsy Creek.
Another single entry in the Shorthorn Bull division. He's a pretty good one. Certainly a bull you need to appreciate for his balance, his rib shape, the way he gets out and goes. And relative to the several of the bulls that we've seen in this division, his indexes are actually quite impressive for this kind of a bull, and it'll be interesting to compare him to the other bulls as we look at our champion lineup. Congratulations.
Early spring yearling bulls, first place in junior champion bull goes to CF in demand, owned by Gypsy Creek Ranch of Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. All right, getting ready to roll into our champion purebred bull. We'll recap our division champions and reserves. Late spring bull calf champion goes to entry 32L7, CLF VCC Casper 2502. A son of CLF Big Dog, owned by Joshua Blakeman of Oak Hill, Ohio, and Cedar Lane Farms of Cedarville, Ohio. Our early spring bull calf champion goes to entry 3205, CLF Patch Adams. A son of Byland Flash 9U106, owned and bred and owned by Cedar Lane Farm, Cedarville, Ohio. Our reserved early spring bull division champion goes to entry 3270, LPA in Motion, the son of LPA the Flip Side, bred and owned by Madeline Rankin of Centerville, Pennsylvania. Our junior bull calf champion single entry goes to 3203. CLF Destined, a son of VCC, Ain't No Foolin', 1701 ET, bred and owned by Cedar Lane Farm, Cedarville, Ohio. Our intermediate champion bull goes to entry 2671, BEG Big Man Zig, bred and owned by Elizabeth Gauger, Saylorsburg, Pennsylvania. And in our junior champion bull division, champion goes to entry 2270, CF In Demand, a son of CF Payweight ET, owned by Gypsy Creek Ranch of Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. You know, Mr. Mooney talked about the indexes on that big bull of Gypsy Creeks bred by Cates. And, you know, as I talked about with the one of Cedar Lanes and, you know, how Flash can propel those things forward in terms of their genetic values. Well, that guy's a Flash grandson right there. Pay weight would be a Flash, I believe, out of a Crystal's Lucy cow. And so the value that that bull has in terms of making them look like that and built like that, but still also propelling forward their numbers is just absolutely incredible for the Shorthorn breed. And that's why he's found so much success across a wide array of cow bases.
Well, to select our champion Shorthorn bull, it's really interesting thing. I know I've been commenting with one of the people who works at the Shorthorn Association office. I'm a guy that actually pays quite a bit of attention to EPDs, and I analyze the data, and there really wasn't much difference in any of the cattle. The one difference is that if you look at some of the indexes, there's one bull that has an advantage. It has nothing to do with the way I'm going to place them, but it was just something I noticed that stuck out, because often we don't see a lot of the cattle that win some of these shows that actually have decent numbers in terms of British maternal index and things like that. So I think it's important that we appreciate that when we have it. As we look at this lineup of bulls, white calf I think has a lot of future ahead of him. Pretty green yet. I think he'd probably just soon be at home eating, and rather than being at the show barn right now. But he's a calf that I think has a lot of future ahead of him. Young man's calf that won the second division, made a comment about him in terms of having a better yearling EPD than the other calf in the class, and I think there are some things you got to appreciate about him. Red and white bull I think is an interesting calf. As we look at him, he's made structurally pretty good. I'd like to see him move just a little stronger off his hind legs relative to the bull that's going to win today, but certainly he's a calf that has some good things about him. The white bull is an interesting bull. I think has some foot size and bone circumference you really want to appreciate. Like to see him with maybe a little more softness in his middle compared to some of the other bulls, and he could move off his hind legs just a little bit better. Then we come to this roan bull that won our oldest division, and he kind of puts it all together. He's a very sound bull, gets out and goes, and I think he's a bull that you really need to appreciate, and he'll be our champion. Congratulations to you. And with that, reserve's going to be our red bull with the white legs right in the middle here. Congratulations.
All right, over on our purebred Shorthorn side, your grand champion Shorthorn bull goes to entry 2270, CF in Demand, a son of CF Payweight XET, owned by Gypsy Creek Ranch of Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. Your reserve grand champion Shorthorn bull goes to entry 3203, CLF Destined, a son of VCC Ain't No Foolin', bred and owned by Cedar Lane Farm, Cedarville, Ohio. We'll let them roll on over to the booth, and looks like we're going to have a momentary delay in the in-game action, guys, as they head on over. Still waiting to get some of these, finish getting some of these white cows pictured, and so head over for bull backdrops. Like I said, congrats to the Gypsy Creek and Kate's Operations for champion purebred bull, and congrats to Cedar Lane Farm for reserve champion purebred Shorthorn bulls. So, you know, both of those bulls really highlight what we can do as a Shorthorn breed and continuing to make awesome sire prospects moving forward, and how we can continue to make the next generation of Shorthorn cattle better than the last. Took a pause there as I talked about the OPU internship opportunity earlier, and because I'll be honest, I'm sorry, Murray, I couldn't think of your name off the top of my head. Our OPU interns this past summer, Mikey Galvin from Indiana and Murray Perkins from Tennessee. And Murray's a great Shorthorn guy, so if you're tuning in today, Murray, I'm sorry about that. I just couldn't come up with it for some reason. Must be getting to me the closer I get to 23 here. So, like I said, you could talk to those guys about what they thought about the internship opportunity. To me, I think that is such a unique and incredible opportunity to go and get in some cows, not necessarily to aspirate, you know, first and foremost, but getting your arms in them to feel what those ovaries and, you know, follicles feel like, and getting to see, like I said, some of our highest volume veterinarians do their work and see how they do what they do and how they find the most success. You know, you're getting to talk to people who, you know, you pair them all together. You've got 50, 60, 70, who knows how many years of experience by the time you get to visit all of these awesome partnering veterinarians. And so it really makes it an incredibly unique experience for those guys to get a lot of different input and, you know, kind of get to see what they think is going to work for them and their operation. Like I talked about, you finish that internship at the end of the summer, and we don't just kind of feed you to the wolves and say, well, bye-bye. You know, that internship is kind of based around helping build our own partner veterinarians moving forward into the future. And by what I mean by that is the fact that we work with you guys to develop business plans and have quarterly meetings with you, so that by the time you finish vet school a couple years later, finishing your third and fourth year externships and whatnot, that we could put you in the driver's seat to help you make the best OPU facility that you can and become a Bovatech partnering veterinarian. That's another difference with about Bovatech that I thought Dr. Krauscher did a really good job of highlighting yesterday. You know, our partner veterinarians work with us, not for us, which gives you autonomy over your clients to kind of manage things how you want to manage them, and more importantly, get to do what you want to do. We can't you're not just contractually obligated to go wherever we tell you to that week. You know, you've got the ability to build your own schedule, build your own client base, and that also gives our clients and your clients the flexibility to do what they want, when they want, where they want, with who they want. And I really like that. And like I said, it gives us the ability to have a more personalized approach, because your donor isn't just going to be, you know, donor number 23 through the shoot that day. Your donor is going to be, oh my gosh, you know, this is, you know, we go to Parson Check. Oh my gosh, Panda, how we doing, Panda? You know, we haven't done you in a few weeks. And so they develop not only just a friendship with the cows, but a friendship with you as well. It's a very personalized approach. You know, I like to call it a boutique approach on how we approach cow management and donor cow management, and how we approach, you know, like I said, bull management, client management. Everything is a very personalized and, you know, results-driven approach so that we can maximize everything for you guys. So That's why I really like being a part of the company. Like I said, as we get into the Shorthorn Female Show, if you're just tuning in, my name's Ben Archer. I'm a beef sales specialist with Bovatech, and I've been highlighting some of the unique parts of our company as we've kind of gone through the broadcast here. A little background aside from Bovatech, I myself am a Shorthorn breeder and red and white cow enthusiast, and so that made me really excited when I was provided the opportunity to get to be up here with you guys today. So I've been a Shorthorn breeder for about 10 years now, and so, like I said, getting the opportunity to sit up here with you guys and watch this show has been very entertaining. In other Shorthorn news today, I kind of thought about it because I received a message from somebody a little bit ago. Today, October 4th, will be the Greenhorn sale there in Waynesville, Ohio. Some incredible females are going to sell there from the Greenhorn crew, as well as a variety of their consigners. So make sure to check that out if you're in the market for some high quality females, but also if you've got the time to wait for some great ones as well. October 26th, Wind Ridge, Pennsylvania. That's the Legends of the Fall sale. That sale is organized by Six Family Shorthorns. Zach Six and his crew have helped assemble that there, powered by Agater Marketing Services. And I'll tell you what, this is the third year of that sale. My family and I have been a part of it since its inception. And just like I said, the quality that continues to grow there year after year and the diversity in the kinds of cattle that we get there just make me very excited. Let's face it, in this Shorthorn breed, everybody's got their own types. There's a neat show heifer type. There's a numbers production type. There's a more steer generator oriented type, and so it makes it very entertaining depending on the direction you want to go. And I'm confident we've got females, we've got bulls, heck, we've got steers in there that I think can hit those marks very well as some elite semen and embryo packages on some awesome cattle. So keep an eye out for that, guys. Also, Saturday the 25th, that day before. Watch out for the Legends of the Fall Facebook page, and it'll get shared around as well. But myself, Cody Hooks, Zach Six, we're going to be doing a Sorting the Pen. So kind of reminiscent of what Steve French and Kevin Went do up for their sale and what the Bull Sale crew does up there in Millersburg when it's time for that sale. We're really excited to get to go through those lots and share some of our insight with you. And, I think there's a wide array of approaches there as well. Cody has bred some absolutely incredible show cattle the last few years. Zach is more on the production side and has had some great success showing as well. But, man, I'll tell you what, I really enjoy getting to go down to Zach's and sort through some of those females and get to see the approach he takes to things, which is a little different from my own. He's got cattle in there that put up some incredible, as Dr. Mooney or as Mr. Mooney's talked about, dollar cow productivity, dollar British maternal index columns. Real world relevant dollar columns. He's got bulls and females in that sale that I think are incredibly exciting, relevant, and breed progressing. That I'm very excited to get to see those and see those sell. So like I said, keep an eye out for that October 25th. We're going to sort through those groups and give you some of our insight on those and really bring you forward some of that, and I hope to continue that tradition moving forward. So, all right, looks like they finished up. Pictures over here. We're going to get rolling here in a second on Class 1 late spring heifer calves, May 2nd, 2025 to June 28th, 2025. Entry 2705. PMF KP Fancy Caroline, owned by Chloe Patrick, Darlington, Maryland. Entry 3246. CLF Airy, red owned by Cedar Lane Farm, Cedarville, Ohio. Entry 3252. LPA Max Rosa FFPS, red owned by Madeline Rankin of Centerville, PA. And entry 2290. CF Dream Only 597 EVET, owned by Sawyer McGrew, Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. So really excited to get to bring you those incredibly high caliber cattle here just momentarily as Mr. Mooney stands over there and starts to read some of the index columns to familiarize himself with this next set of data. So guys, a really, really high caliber show we're having ourselves here today. So it's a lot of fun. I want to reiterate what I talked a little bit about earlier as well, at Bovatech. Like I said, check out our Facebook page. Go watch the Facebook Live I did yesterday there with Dr. Bill Krauscher. We started the Facebook Live series this summer when I was a sales intern and getting to go to junior nationals, Matt Bruns and myself, we sat down and we interviewed satellite managers and we interviewed just incredible cattle people and got to take different perspectives from the show side, from the seed stock side. But this time we finally got to pick the brain of a partnering veterinarian and learn what goes on that side of things. The big question, I think, the big question we deal with in the IVF industry as a salesperson to me has been, well, why do we use FSH? Why do I have to give my cows follicle-stimulating hormone? And to get to hear Dr. Crozier break that one down was just absolutely incredible to me. So, you know, for all of my Flatlander friends, my row crop friends, he said, you know, it's a lot like if you just took your seed drill out and you just jammed a seed in the earth and you went to harvest in September and October, you're probably going to have more weeds than you have a good healthy crop. But if we go out, we till the earth, we fertilize, we do everything we're supposed to maximize our results, then we're going to give ourselves the best chance to find the highest quality and make the highest quality product that we absolutely possibly can. Here comes Class 1, and we'll continue to talk a little bit more about why follicle-stimulating hormone matters so much to us in our approach and how it could continue to capitalize on results for you guys.
First class of Shorthorn heifers in the purebred division. We've got a heifer I think finds her way to the top of the class. Really appreciate this female in terms of her angularity up front, the way her neck comes out of the top of her shoulder. She has some rib shape to her. She's level out to her rumps, and she gets around the ring, I think, very soundly, has a nice stride. Really appreciate some things about that. I think it's close between second and third. The young man with the roan that we have in second, I think that's a fancy bugger. I really appreciate the the shape of the neck and the way the shoulder blades laid in, got that extra rib shape, and gets out and goes. I think she moves just a bit better off the hind legs than this red heifer wants to today. This heifer is kind of fighting the halter a little bit, which may be part of it, but she's a little shorter in her stride. She's not quite as neat right through the juncture of her neck into her shoulder compared to the heifer in second. And the heifer that concludes our class has just given up too much performance to compete.
All right, Class 1, late spring heifer calves. First, LPA Max Rosa FFPS, red owned by Madeline Rankin of Centerville, PA. Second, entry 2290 CF Dream Only 597 EVET, owned by Sawyer McGrew of Gettysburg, PA. Third, 3246 CLF Airy, bred known by Cedar Lane Farm of Cedarville, Ohio. And fourth, PMF KP Fancy Caroline, bred known by Chloe Patrick of Darlington, Maryland. Coming in now, Class 4 early spring heifer calves. Entry 4797 from Michaela Sugg of Alden, New York. Entry 3255 from Cedar Lane Farm of Cedarville, Ohio. Entry 5076, RWFC Can't Stop Margie, owned by Tristan Kaiser of Kmart, Maryland. Entry 637, BMH Marcia, owned by Bailey Hawk, Petersburg, PA. Entry 2289, CF Haines Crystal Lucy 582 RKET, owned by Audrey Robertson of Gettysburg, PA. You know, that last class winner, LPA Max Rosa FFPS, I do believe that's the one. She is actually a maternal sib to the Flipside Bull. Out of the same Max Rosa cow, and that great FF Pursuit Bull. That's I'll tell you what they've had a couple of them that I think are just very, very good and highlighting the quality that bull can continue to generate. So. I'm really excited to get to see this class here. I think it looks like it's going to be really, really deep and really, really full of quality. So take some more time here to continue to have our discussion about the use of FSH. You know, when we use FSH, it's got a very short half-life in the beef cow body. So we're looking at about 7 hours, which is why when we set them up in our donor protocol, we have to give shots every 12 hours on the dot. You know what I'm saying? That way we're not having any, devolving. We're not having any attrition going on in these follicles. You know, we're not inducing cellular death by missing our shot schedule, right? As Dr. Krauscher said, the beef cow's main goal in repro is to not have a litter. So we have to, quote-unquote, trick her into having a litter by using follicle-stimulating hormone. And importantly to me, one of the big deals is we have to take and reset that follicular wave, right? By using some sort of a GnRH to reset that follicular wave so that we could target that right at the key period, and we know about where the average beef cow lands, and so we could target that right where we need to so that we can reset the follicular wave, and we don't have a dominant follicle that is telling the other ones and sending chemical messengers for those ones to die off. Instead, we reset the wave, we build as many health, we don't, follicle stimulating hormone doesn't necessarily make more oocytes, but maintains the health of the ones we have. It keeps them from becoming atretic. And also in our system, we're only going to take the right size follicles. If we think about it, too small of a follicle isn't going to make an embryo, which don't make a pregnancy. Too big of a follicle is experiencing some cellular death, and so might make an embryo, but that's where we see early embryonic death losses, right? So our veterinarians go through a rigorous validation process to make sure that they are targeting the right size follicle, which is going to pull the right kind of oocyte, which is going to make the right kind of embryo and pregnancy for our customers. And to us, that's the most important part, right? Because if you don't make pregnancies, then that's not putting dollars back in your pocket, and to us, you know, you're not going to want to be a repeat client. So we have to make the highest quality product for you guys that we absolutely can, because that's what matters most to you. Judge Mooney starting to get some of these placed here, and like I said, just looks like an absolutely incredible class.
In our Shorthorn class, we've got a heifer I think finds her way to the top. That's a fancy bugger. She gets out and goes. I think she moves as sound as anything in the ring. She's very extended in her front end. Her neck comes out really high out of the top of her shoulders. She's got some rib shape. And most important thing to me is how true she's moving off of all four of her legs. I think she has a lot of potential ahead of her, and a lot of time to come. Really fancy bugger to start her class with. I think it's close between second and third. I prefer the way this red heifer moves off of her hind legs to the heifer that stands in third. I think she's a long body female, not quite as highly fitted, but a female that I think has some really good pieces in her. Really like the way she moves off of her hind end compared to the heifer in third. This heifer in third, really a deep-bodied heifer that's got some shape to her quarter. For me, she's a little short-strided off of her hind legs. If she took a good stride, I think she'd be competitive in this class, but I think being a little short-strided, she's just a tick tight the way she moves off her hind legs, but really got some good pieces in her. Young ladies heifer next in class, just giving up in terms of the amount of power, rib shape, and structural soundness that we have up the line, but a heifer that's certainly very good out of her front end. And a heifer that has some potential, like to change the way she moves off her hind end. The white heifer fighting this young lady a little bit. She's also a heifer that's a little round the way she's made, and her muscle structure wants to get her feet underneath herself when she moves, but hopefully she'll turn out to be a really good female for the young lady. Congratulations.
Good class of 5 there. Class 4 early spring heifer calves. First entry 4797 CF Dream Only 594 EVET, owned by Michaela Sugg of Alden, New York. Second, CLF Amelia, bred and owned by Cedar Lane Farm of Cedarville, Ohio, a daughter of Little Cedar Aviator. Third, entry 2289 for Audrey Robertson of Gettysburg, PA. Fourth, entry 5076 for Tristan Kaiser of Kmart, Maryland. And entry 637 was fifth for Bailey Hawk of Petersburg, Pennsylvania. Coming in now, Class 5 early spring heifer calves. Entry 3292, Joshua Blakeman, Oak Hill, Ohio. Entry 4457, Kenzie Feisel of Accident, Maryland. Entry 2449, Jacob Eichenlaub of Mifflinburg, PA. Entry 2949 of Ryan Leister, Tennytown, Maryland. And entry 5140 of Madeline Rhodes, Centerville, Maryland. A lot of variety in this group as well. A flash, a conviction from Barn. Wish the Nelson family the best on their move they've got coming up there to North Texas. Little Cedar Final 4, a Global, and a Perfection. Once again, just highlighting the variety that we've got in the Shorthorn breed and the variety and quality, in terms of the different kinds of quality that we can find as well. It's very intriguing. So many different kinds of females. Like I said, let's face it, the Byland cattle are shaped differently than the Cates cattle, and the Cates cattle are shaped differently than the Farrer bred cattle. And so just the variety that we can have in the Shorthorn breed is just really, really exciting to me, and what makes me, like I keep saying, just so passionate to be a Shorthorn breeder. Guys, I also told John to get the information. Miguel Leon's got back to me. So like I said, that heifer came out of the Queens of the East sale there in St. Clairsville, Ohio. This year, that is November 3rd on SC Online Sales. Going to be a great group of females they've got there as well. So Judge Mooney's getting this awesome group of 5 placed, and so I'll turn it over to him for his comments.
CF Dream Only, owned by Michaela Sugg from Alden, New York. Second was entry 3255, CLF Amelia, owned by Cedar Lake Farms in Cedarville, Ohio. Third, CF Haynes Crystal Lucy, owned by Audrey Robertson in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. Fourth, entry 5076, RWFC Can't Stop Margie, owned by Tristan Kaiser of Kemar, Maryland. And fifth, entry 637, BMH Marcia, owned by Bailey Hawk of Petersburg, Pennsylvania. In the ring on our Shorthorn side at this time is Class 5, Early Spring Heifer Calves.
Okay, in our Shorthorn show, the young man's heifer, I think, wins this class, has an advantage in terms of structural soundness, especially the way she wants to move off of her hind legs. Really an attractive female up through her front end. Certainly has some mass to her as well, got some rib shape. Really sound heifer the way she gets out and goes. Nice heifer for the young man. Like some things about the heifer in second. When she gets out and we put her into motion, she wants to be a little soft off of her hind end. If she moved a little better off of her hind legs, I think she could win the class. But for me anyway, that's really the thing that makes the difference. Certainly appreciate the softness of the middle in that female. Very attractive female, just like to change the way she moves off her hind end. Young man's got a really strong maternal heifer in third. Got some, certainly a sound female, very feminine. If you look at her indexes like BMI, she certainly excels the class in that, but she's given up power and to compete with the heifers at the top, but certainly appreciate that about her. Two heifers have some similarities. Young man's red heifer, I think, is more sound the way she moves off her hind end compared to the heifer in fifth. That's the main thing that would break that particular pair for me, but hopefully females, that'll be productive.
All right, Class 5 Early Spring Heifer Calves. First, CLF Nugget, owned by Joshua Blakeman of Oak Hill, Ohio. Second, entry 5140, Purple RM Max Rosa 5 NET, owned by Madeline Rhodes of Centerville, Maryland. Third goes to entry 2949, Ryan Leister, Taneytown, Maryland. Fourth goes to entry 2449 of Jacob Eichenlaub of Mifflinburg, PA. And fifth goes to entry 4453, Kenzie Feisel of Accident, Maryland. Coming in now, we've got two entries here in Class 6. Entry 2277, CF Mona Lisa 547 OMET, owned by Knox Newmeyer, Bowling, Texas. And VR Snowflake, entry 5628, owned by Emily Vance of Greensboro, Maryland.
Well, good morning.
Like I said, you know, we're very fortunate to have some great people come from all over the place for this awesome Shorthorn show. And I talked to Miss Newmeyer yesterday when I saw they had arrived. She said they had a great little flight up here, and so very glad to see them get to bring their boy out and get that awesome family back into the Shorthorn breed here. So here's Mr. Mooney.
Inside, just a pair of heifers. I think the young man's red and white heifer wins this class very handily. Very attractive female, made right through her front end, got some rib shape to her, good out through her rump, and she moves out really good off all four of her feet and legs. Really a heifer I think has a world of potential ahead of her. White heifer that will be second in this class has just given up too much performance to compete with that powerful heifer, but she has some good pieces in her. Hopefully make a good female for the young lady.
All right, Class 6 Early Spring Heifer Calves. First goes to entry 2277, the CF Mona Lisa 547 OMET, owned by Knox Harrison Newmeyer, Bowling, Texas. And second goes to entry 5628, VR Snowflake, owned by Emily Vance of Greensboro, Maryland. Coming in now, we'll have our Early Spring Heifer Calf champion and reserve to recap. First in Class 4, CF Dream Only 594 EVET, owned by Michaela Sugg of Alden, New York. Second in that class, coming in for reserve, CLF Amelia 2508, bred and owned by Cedar Lane Farm of Cedarville, Ohio. Class 5, first, CLF Nugget, owned by Joshua Blakeman of Oak Hill, Ohio. Second in that class, entry 5140, Purple RM Max Rosa 5NET, owned by Madeline Rhodes of Centerville, Maryland. Finally, in our last class, first, CF Mona Lisa 547 OMET, owned by Knox Harrison Newmeyer, Bowling, Texas. And second, VR Snowflake V25, owned by Emily Vance of Greensboro, Maryland. Awesome division here we got for our early spring heifer calf champion, and we'll be very excited to see where Mr. Mooney takes this division and excited to see the show progress. I'll turn it over to him for his comments.
Contention for reserve is as follows: 3255 CLF Amelia. From Class 5, your second place went to 5140 Purple RM Max Rosa. And from Class 9, your second was entry 5628 VR Snowflake.
Over here on the Shorthorn side, we've got a division champion to select. For me, it's pretty logical. The young man with the red and white heifer from our last class, I think, puts all the good things together. Really attractive female. Really good in her structure, good in her neck, got some rib shape to her. Gets out and goes, I think, as well as anything in the division. I think it's, after that, it's close between our other two winners. It's really a matter of preference. I like the pattern of the heifer from the younger class. She'll be our reserve champion, but both really good heifers. Congratulations to you.
All right, early spring heifer calf champion. Your champion goes to entry 2277. CF Mona Lisa 547 OMET, owned by Knox Harrison Newmeyer, Bowling, Texas. Reserve goes to entry 4797. CF Dream Only 594 EVET, owned by Michaela Sugg of Alden, New York. Rolling in now, we will start Class 9, Junior Heifer Calves, entry 4654 for Broughton Cattle Company of Silver Springs, New York. Entry 5222 of Weston Ward, Greens Fork, Indiana. Entry number 3238, LPA Max Rosa TS, owned by Madeline Rankin of Centerville, PA. And entry 2537, owned by Peyton Davis of Emmitsburg, Maryland. Group of 4 we got here, guys, and I think it's going to be really good. So this, I think the Purebred Show took it and kicked it up even further a notch from where we were at with the pluses, and those were exciting enough. So truly, I'm excited to see how this continues to progress as we go through our day here. And like I said, you know, the variety that we can have in these sire groups in terms of what can be so good in some of these females is just incredible. I mean, a Ronin, a Long Look, a Times Square, and a Red Knight. The variety that we have across those contemporary sire groups in terms of their history and the success they've found and the variety of operations that they originate from is truly very intriguing to me. We'll kind of restart the conversation we were having earlier for those of you just tuning in, you know, that missed maybe the plus show earlier when I discussed it. Like I said, I'm a beef sales specialist with Bovatech, but originally was an intern with them as well. So, you know, I think that company does an incredible job of what I like to call investing in the youth. You know, we have to make these investments in children when we come to shows like this because they're the next generation, and one day they're going to be the ones paying the bills. And, you know, they want to say, well, hey, Bovatech sponsored this and that when I was a kid, so let's take them over to our place, to their place, to IVF. And so I think that's a really exciting thing that we can have moving forward. I think the internships are one way they do an incredible job of that. Finding these kids that have an interest in repro, putting that internship out for them, and going through that interview process not only is a great skill to have, in terms of getting to communicate with others, but also it was a great process for me, in terms of getting out into the job market. You're going to have to go through interview processes similar to that, and I just think the way they run things is very, very neat. So Judge Mooney's getting ready to start placing some of these here, so I will turn it over for his comments, and we'll continue the internship conversation as we go.
Really nice class of February heifers. I think it's really close on the top pair. Chose to go with the red heifer. I think she really puts things together. She's, I think, the most complete of the four. I really like the way that she's made up through her shoulder, the way that her shoulder blade lays in, the way the neck comes out of it when she gets out and goes. I like the way she moves. She's certainly given up a little performance to the roan heifer, but I really like the package that she's made in, the way she gets out and goes. I think a really, really attractive female that's made right from front to back. Take nothing away from the roan heifer. Got some really good things in it. When you get on top of her, she's got a little more boldness in her shoulder than the heifer that leads the class. I think she's a heifer that really has a lot of good things about her. It's certainly a very extended heifer up through her front end. I'd just like to change her a little bit through the shoulder and the way she is in her top. And I think she could move just a little stronger off those hind legs relative to the heifer that wins the class. Not that she's particularly bad, I just think the heifer that wins the class has an advantage. This heifer that's in third, at first glance, there's some things you really like about her. When you put her into motion and watch her walking away, she wants to hawk in, and she walks away from you, and that causes her to get her feet outside of her skeleton just a bit. But she certainly has some goodness in her front end and got some rib shape as well. Take nothing away from this heifer that concludes the class, a little smaller package, certainly relative for her size, is made well. I think she's just given up too much performance to compete with the heifers up the line. Really good group of heifers. I think that heifer that wins the class is very complete.
All right, Class 9 junior heifer calves. First, entry 5222, CF Mona Lisa 534 LLET, owned by Weston Ward of Greens Fork, Indiana. Second, entry 2537, GCR Mona Madness RK507 ET, owned by Peyton Davis of Emmitsburg, Maryland. Third, entry 3238 for Madeline Rankin of Centerville, PA. And fourth, entry 4654 for Broughton Cattle Company of Silver Springs, New York. Coming in now, Class 10, 2 entries. Entry 5626 for Emily Vance of Greensboro, Maryland. And entry 4735 for Aubrey Short of Moncton, Maryland. Great pair of females we got here, hailing from the Upper Hand cow or the Upper Hand sire group, and of course the ever immortal Dreammaker sire group. I mean, the caliber of cattle that those have been and the success they've found is probably the most consistent and the most successful over the last 3 or 4 years as anything has been. And then just even the cattle he's continued to generate from there, like I talked about, Dreamweaver and some of these incredible females such as Myers and Lehman's cow that they call Ricky, and the value that they have. And actually there should be a Ricky daughter gets showed later today. I do believe I saw back in the barn, and just the quality that continues to get translated into the next generation from those, it's very exciting. So great pair we got here. I'll turn it over to Judge Mooney for his comments.
LPA Max Rosa, owned by Madeline Rankin of Centerville, Pennsylvania. And fourth to 4654 Bro Dina, owned by Broughton Cattle Company, Silver Spring, New York. In the ring, we have junior heifer calves on the Shorthorn side, and then we will be moving into your junior heifer calf division and reserve. Thank you.
In our Shorthorn class, there are 2 heifers that are colored in a similar manner. I think the young lady that starts the class, her heifer is more sound as she moves about the ring. I like the way that she holds herself together. She's made good right through the junction of her neck and shoulder. She gets out, takes a nice step, and covers her track. Really attractive female. I think the other heifer, when you get her into motion, she's not quite as sound, especially off of the hind legs. She's fighting the halter a bit as well, and I think she's not quite as soft in her middle. But I think certainly a female that's got a good future ahead of her and can make a good cow for the young lady. Thank you.
All right, Class 10. First, entry 5626, CFPC Dream Lady 57 UHEX, owned by Emily Vance of Greensboro, Maryland. And second goes to entry 4735, CSF Cherry 5136 DMET, owned by Aubrey Short of Moncton, Maryland. All right, now we're going to have our junior heifer calf champion and reserve champion division. Just to recap real quick. First, from Class 9, CF Mona Lisa 534 LLET, owned by Weston Ward of Greens Fork, Indiana. Second from that class, entry 2537, GCR Mona Madness XRK 507 ET, owned by Peyton Davis of Emmitsburg, Maryland. In Class 10, first, 5626 for Emily Vance of Greensboro, Maryland. And second, 4735 for Aubrey Short of Moncton, Maryland.
We will be moving into Class 13 winter heifer calves after this division.
Great division of females we got here, and I'll go ahead and turn the mic over to Judge Mooney for his comments when he's ready.
Really powerful individual to start off this class, a heifer that excels the class in terms of performance, but she does so with a lot of other quality things. She has that rib cage that I like. She's pretty feminine out through that front end. Her shoulders laid back into her. Yeah, she's getting some condition on her, but I think she carries it really well. When you put her in motion, she gets out and takes a nice full stride and has that angle to her foot. I think just a really stout individual. Heifer coming out next, you really like the quality in terms of bone and length. Maybe when we put her in motion, we'd like to give her just a little more authority as she pushes off of that rear two. But I think that's being pretty picky on an awful nice female, just not quite the power and the lower rib shape we had in the heifer above her today.
Over here in the Shorthorn ring, we're selecting a division champion. For me, it's real logical. We're going to go with the champion reserve from the two in the younger class. So the young man with the red heifer with the cowboy hat will be champion. The young lady with the white roan will be reserve. Congratulations.
All right, our junior heifer calf champion division champion goes to entry 5222 CF Mona Lisa 534 LLET, owned by Weston Ward of Greens Fork, Indiana. Reserve goes to entry 2537 GCR Mona Madness RK 507 ET, and that's owned by Peyton Davis of Emmitsburg, Maryland. Next, we've got Class 13, single entry here, 4832 for William Beinlich of Monongahela, Pennsylvania. Another consigner there in the Legends of the Fall sale. Turn it over to Judge Mooney.
Looks like we have a single entry here in the Shorthorn show. Certainly a very attractive female, very sound as she moves. Really like her, the amount of rib shapes that she has to her. We'll talk about her some more a little bit later.
All right, like I said, first in that class, entry 4832 TBFC RT Sierra Crystal Knight, owned by William Beinlich of Monongahela, Pennsylvania. Class 14, another single entry will come in next. That's 4263 GCR SGM Mona Madness CC 453 ET, owned by Sawyer McGrew of Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. Like I said there, William Beinlich, another consigner there in the Legends of the Fall sale. I believe he's bringing 5 or 6 or so over. Some good females there, and so be sure to check them out there October 26th on CCI Live or in Windridge, PA. Here's Judge Mooney.
William Beinlich of Monongahela, Pennsylvania, is first in the ring at this time is Class 14, senior heifer calf, single entry from 4263.
Over here on the Shorthorn side, we just got a single entry, young man's heifer. Certainly got quite a bit of muscle to her. It's a heifer that's pretty sound the way she moves around the ring. We'll talk about her some more a little bit later when she comes back.
First there in Class 14. Senior heifer calves, 4263 for Sawyer McGrew of Gettysburg, PA, with a bred known female for himself. So coming back from Class 13, we'll have entry 4832 for William Beinlich of Monongahela, Pennsylvania. And from Class 14, entry 4263, as I just said, for Sawyer McGrew of Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. Only 2 in this division, but looks like it's going to be a very solid one. So very excited to see what Judge Mooney's commentary is on this and the direction he decides to go. So good dark-colored female there that Will brings as well. I like those dark-colored ones. Just there seems to be, whether it's red Angus or a dark Hereford or a dark Shorthorn, I like that color. Resonates with me. I'll turn it over to Judge Mooney when he's ready for his commentary here. And you can hear some of the commentary from the Limflex side as well.
And she really has that feminine look. She has that added rib shape to her. You get in behind this heifer, and she has some internal dimension also. She has some top in her. She has some muscle shape. And yet she's really refined, really elegant in her joints, down through her lower structure. I think this heifer's really extended out through that front end in a feminine package. Just a real nice heifer to start off our class. Heifer in second, maybe got just a little more power to her. A heifer that excels the class in terms of body length. Maybe not quite as extended out through that front end in terms of femininity. Is excellent in the bone work she has. I think this heifer has a lot of potential on down the road. Just giving up in rib shape and lower 1/3 and thickness when you get in behind her. I think excellent pair of heifers here.
Over here on the Shorthorn side, we're picking another division. I think the young man with the red heifer wins this division going away. Very attractive female. I really like the way that she holds herself together on the move. Got some rib shape to her. I think very, very good heifer, and we'll see her a bit later. Take nothing away from the young man's roan heifer. I just think relative to the red one, isn't made quite as well from a structure standpoint. The way that she moves off her hind legs. She's a little bit on the go as well, but I think a heifer that's got some really good pieces in her and could be mated and make a really productive female for the young man.
All right, senior heifer calf champion, your champion, entry 4832 TBFC RT Sierra Crystal 90T, owned by William Beinlich of Monongahela, Pennsylvania. And your reserve, entry 4263 GCR SGM Mona Madness CC 453 ET, owned by Sawyer McGrew of Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. Coming in now, Class 17 late spring yearling females. Entry 2615 for Bristol Bates of Chandlersville, Ohio. Entry 4831 for William Beinlich of Monongahela, Pennsylvania. Entry 2807 for Liam Hartner of Marriottsville, Maryland. Here's one of them great Dreamweaver females like I talked about earlier, guys, and, the quality that those things have. I've just been drooling over this one all week in the stall because I think she is just flat out incredible, and I talked about it with Jared yesterday. She harkens back to the Shorthorns I can remember when I started showing there in 2015, and it's funny. I made the comment she looks a lot like Samantha Van Voris's Supreme Female up here at Keystone in 2016, which was a Red Reward Rosemary. We turn and look at her pedigree sign, and I'll be darned if her mom's not a full sib. So the quality runs deep in that one's bloodline, and she's got an awful lot of good to her as well. So, to get to see females like that and bloodlines like that continue to generate, and then, like I said, just the incredible cattle that Dreamweaver continues to make me very excited as a Shorthorn producer to see not just how these things do in the ring, but how they're going to do as cows. I mean, it is just so fun to see these awesome, awesome Shorthorn females and the direction they can go. So also want to congratulate the whole Bates family, Jared, Kate, Bristol, there this summer. They had a new boy. Brigham was born to the family there, and so I'm really excited for them to get to, continue to grow that family, and just some incredible people as well. Like I said, guys, with the entirety of this Shorthorn breed, the depth and quality it has to offer, as well as the differences in some of them, can make this really intriguing to get to watch some evaluation go on. And it comes down to a lot of personal preference on these things. So excited to see where Judge Mooney takes this.
We certainly have three very attractive females in our Shorthorn class. I think you could justify lining them up some different ways. My preference for the young man with the lighter roan female, I think that she's, from a structure standpoint, I appreciate her, especially up through her front end. She's much more angular through the top of her shoulder. She has a bit more extension to her neck as well. When she gets out and goes, I think she holds herself together and takes a little bit longer stride. Really good heifer, I think. A lot of future before her. Really like the completeness of her, the way that she puts some things together. When we get to our second heifer, she probably has a bit more muscle in terms of width across her top, but with that, she's also got some width across the top of her shoulder. Her neck doesn't come into the top of her shoulder as well as the other heifer that wins the class. Really got to appreciate the amount of body mass that the female has. She's got some spring to her rib. She's really thick out through her rump, lets down into a good quarter. I think has a lot of positive things. I'd just like to change the front end and make her just a tick longer in her stride. Take nothing away from the young man's heifer in third. She's certainly a good, productive kind of female. I think has a lot of future ahead of her. I actually prefer the design of the front end of this female to the one in second, but I think she gives up some things in terms of total completeness to the females up the line. But female, I think, is going to make an outstanding cow for the young man.
All right, Class 17 and your champion intermediate female, that's 2807, Midnight Miranda, a daughter of CFSF Ultimate Reward, shown by Liam Hartner of Marriottsville, Maryland. Second, entry 2615, also your reserve champion intermediate female, Soul, Rosie's Dreams, 4600 MET, owned by Bristol Bates of Chandlersville, Ohio. Coming in now, Class 20 early spring yearling females, entry 2792 for Lillian Whiting of New Wilmington, PA. Entry 5106 of Carly Black of Kennedyville, Maryland. Entry 1771 of Jacelyn Thomas of Pikeville, Tennessee. Entry 997 of Charlotte Holland in Gaithersburg, Maryland. Entry 2782 of Jenna Whiting, New Wilmington, Pennsylvania. Guys, you know, you meet some awesome people in this job that I have and getting to travel like I do. So I just got a text there from Hereford's own Kane Ager. You know, we have him over here on the Shorthorn side as well, and that's truly his home, regardless of what those red and white face people say. The Shorthorns are his home, and want to give a shout-out for their sale as well. They're putting on with the Bedwell family and the Blankenship families down there in Isabella, Oklahoma. The Lasting Impression Sale, Isabella, Oklahoma, October 18th. You can find that one in person or on CCI online. Go ahead and find your videos and catalog information up there. I mean, just an incredible history of success from all those operations that are tied up and involved in that sale, and the level of quality of aftercare you receive as well. You know, just the quality, like I said, you know, I believe, and don't hold me to this, Kane, you could tell me if I'm wrong, I believe the Champion Plus heifer at Denver that would have came from you guys would have come out of that sale this past year, and there's either a full or maternal sib tour in there as well. So very excited to see that sale be so successful for those great people down there in Oklahoma and continue that tradition of success they've got going on down there. So go check it out. Like I said, October 18th, Isabella, Oklahoma, the Lasting Impression Sale. Guys, another awesome group of 5 females we got out here, and like I said, just some incredibly deep classes we've got. I remember going and sorting through the barn and finding a lot of these the other day, and just like I keep talking about, differences in sire groups, a tribute, a pay weight, 2 perfections, different cow bases, and a red reward. Man, I'll tell you what, and I find this 5106, that's a pay weight GCC Turner's Margie 542E ET. Bred by Greenhorn. That actually would have been a pack of embryos that the Ridge Top and the Seaman and the Cybert Cruise would have purchased together. And I'll tell you what, I think they really outdid themselves there in terms of finding ones that could generate females like this. So, and then you've got incredibly competitive females out there. Perfection 812, Dream On 5158. The 5158 cow, no stranger to success in making some absolutely incredible bulls and females alike. That'd be a full sib to that bull, I believe they call him Perfect Timing, a bull that Schaefer and Tice have together. A really stout and chunky promotional sire they came out with a few years ago. And then a Red Reward out of that Special Rosa, a.k.a. that Ricky cow that I highlighted earlier. I think one that brings so much quality to the table. So many incredible sire groups that are represented in this, and incredible cow families as well. And not to overlook those incredible, the tribute sired cattle. Man, I'll tell you what, there's several that are going to sell in our sale that we, in Zach Six's sale, they're the 26 that I think are very, very high value that are going to be very good. So really, really loving it. Yeah, yep, Kane just touched base with me. That plus heifer sold in the same sale last year, maternal sib selling in the sale this year. So, guys, when you've got a history of an operation that finds that kind of success like they do, it's a no-brainer to absolutely check that sale out. Give Kane, give Jeff, give them all a call and check in on some of those incredible lots they've got down there. But turning our attention back to this incredible Shorthorn show, I mean, it's really sitting here getting my blood pumping even more as a Shorthorn breeder. These big, burly females we've got out here that are still so broody and ultra-maternal and just incredible in what they do, the value that they can have in any operation and going forward and making incredibly high-value cattle is just so exciting to me, like absolutely incredible. I'll tell you what, if any of my old college teammates or roommates who always love to give me crap about being the Shorthorn guy, or as Logan Berman always called me, the Shorthorn Queen, I really think you need to tune into this class and see the differences in the quality that we can make. But even, the heifer that just gets pulled from fifth from the Warfield crew down there in Maryland, I know that one has found a lot of success herself and has continued to have siblings that have found success. And so, the depth of quality in this class, the differences in quality in this class is just so interesting to me and makes it, like I said, so fun, so challenging, so unique in what we do as a breed. So not just the colors unique and different, but the types and kinds are different as well. So kind of spin it around and come down off the Shorthorn breeder pedestal for a minute, talk a little more about Bovatech again. Like I said, personalized approaches we've been talking about all day. Let's face it, not every donor that you're going to bring in to get aspirated and get IVF'd is the same, right? They're all going to need different kinds of they're all going to need different kinds of management. They're going to need different kinds of donor, they're going to need different types of management profiles. And everything's going to have to be treated differently in these females, right? Because if we're running them all the same, then we're not maximizing these females where they need to be. Once we get some of these females run through our system and get some information on them on how they run, we can fine-tune we can fine-tune stimulation protocols so that we are maximizing donor performance as well. But to me, the big thing, the neat thing to me is our history of semen on these bulls. So, but let's get this turned back over to Judge Mooney, and we'll see what he has to say on these.
Over here in the Shorthorn show, apologies for taking a little more time. I think this is a very interesting class to evaluate, a lot of differences in them, some things that you see when you walk up on the class that kind of catch your eye. One of the things that caught my eye when I started looking at some of these heifers coming in is how much condition they're carrying. I'll tell you, a couple of them, I don't know that they need to have quite that much flesh on them to be in the show ring. The other thing, I think there's some differences when we start to evaluate the structure. After I got them lined up and asked to move them, the two that I think moved the best seemed to run away from the rest of them. I don't know if that's because people dragging them or the way that they're made, but I think this young lady's going to win the class basically on the completeness and the structural soundness. I really appreciate that female when she gets out and goes. She puts her back foot down where the front one was. I think she's a very sound female. She's good up through her neck. She's got some rib, and I think a really productive look to her. A lot of things about that heifer you've got to like and appreciate, I think. And for me, I think she wins this class. I think when you get after that, you're kind of looking at some pieces. There are some differences in the data for those of you that pay attention to it. It didn't have any bearing on the way I placed them, but there are a couple of heifers in this class that are getting up there with the higher birth EPDs and things that we like to pay attention to and need to be aware of. But this female, once you get the other one out of the ring, I think is the soundest of the heifers left when you get them on the move, and that's why she's in second place. I'd like to change her just a little bit, the way she's made, through her throat and everything, maybe clean her up, but that's a heifer with a lot of rib shape in her, got a good foot on her, gets out and goes, and I think a real productive female. Appreciate a lot of things about her. Young lady's heifer in third, I think just kind of lands there because I think of the heifers left, she's the most sound of them. Well, that's probably not the right thing to use in this particular place. I like her relative to the heifer in fourth in terms of her end frame size. For me, the fourth heifer is getting a little on the big side for me, but there's some other things about it. This heifer is really complete. I like the way she's put together. Doesn't have as much hind quarter as one or two of the heifers in the class, but she gets out and goes and moves relatively well. But I really like her rib shape, the way her neck and her shoulder come together. I think she has some balance. This heifer, as far as soundness, really is a sound female. She's, as I said, plenty big, and she might be the leanest of the 5 heifers in the class. But for me, she's getting on the big side a little bit, and I'd like to see her a little fuller in her fore ribs. She's a little flat in her first couple of ribs. But boy, that's a big, powerful female with good feet and legs and some good foot size, and I think has a lot of potential for what you can do as a breeding tool. when this light heifer comes in, light-colored heifer comes in, she really catches your eye. Very highly presented female, but boy, when you get behind her and look at her moving off of her hind legs, she kind of disappoints you a bit. But very attractive female, the way that she's made in her neck and her shoulder. She's maybe just a little bit straight in her shoulder, and I think that has some effect to the reason why she has a little shorter stride. But the way she comes off her hind legs, she just really getting kind of overpowered on the structure for me. But a very attractive heifer. If she got out and moved a little better, I think she'd be competitive. But for me, I really value a lot on the structure, and she's just not getting off those hind legs the way I'd like to see it. But 5 outstanding heifers that I think all are really good breeding tools for the exhibitors.
Well, first off, I'd like to say my apologies for those listening. I got a little lost on, he placed them a little differently in their alignment of where he started with his first and his last, as opposed to what he'd done before. So I got a little confused. So let's recap. First and champion early spring female, entry 997 BW Perfect Michelle for Charlotte Holland at Gaithersburg, Maryland. Second, entry 1771 S&T Perfect Dreams, owned by Jacelyn Thomas of Pikeville, Tennessee. Third, 2782 for Jenna Whiting of New Wilmington, PA. Fourth, 5106 for Carly Black of Kennedyville, Maryland. And fifth, 2792 for Lillian Whiting, New Wilmington, PA. Coming here now, we got a trio of females. Entry 4406, Caden Roberts, Cumberland, Ohio. Entry 2330 for Sawyer McGrew, Gettysburg, PA. Entry 4247 for Aubrey Short, Moncton, Maryland. Great trio of females we've got here taking a lap, and I believe the one up front, the Evolution Soul, Grand Rosemary from Z Smith Farms there in Valparaiso, Indiana, would be a sib to one that Kennedy Arthur showed that is now a donor in the Schrog-Nickel and Arthur donor batteries. Has made some incredible females, such as a high-selling popular opinion female in their sale this past year, which will be coming up here soon, I believe the 14th or so of October, and they've got some incredible daughters out of her once again this year, so keep an eye out for some of those incredible females in that group. This one here, we've got an Evolution, an Omaha, and another Evolution female in this class here, and those Evolutions really seem to be hitting their stride, competitive as always, but are ultra competitive within the last couple years here as well. Getting into these big heavy breds, and I really do like how Judge Mooney's putting an emphasis on the structure of these things, because we got to keep them built right? I mean, if we don't start with them built right as calves, they got to be able to move as cows, so I love his emphasis there. Let's see what he's got to say on this trio.
Thomas from Pikeville, Tennessee with ST Perfect Dreams. Entry number 1771. Third, entry number 2782. MFSL Man Ricky's Reward. Fourth went to entry 5106, HHFS RT Margie's Beauty, owned by Carly Black from Kennedyville, Maryland. And fifth entry number 2792 to CF Mona Lisa from Lillian Whiting from New Wilmington, Pennsylvania. In the ring at this time, on our Shorthorn side, we have our junior yearling female division. Your champion in reserve junior female will come out of this class. These entries range in age from January 6th to February 27th.
Okay, in our Shorthorn ring, young man's heifer is going to win this class. I think she's very complete, very sound as she moves around about the ring. I really like the way that her neck and shoulder come together when she gets out and goes. And she's a handful for the young man because she's a big girl, but really nice made up through her front end, real feminine, really like the way she gets out and goes. Young man's heifer in second, I think, is the most like her, has a lot of good things about her, giving it up a little bit in terms of length of rump and the extension of the front end, but a really good, attractive female that I think is going to be very productive. Young lady's heifer that concludes the class is a heifer that's got some good pieces as well, just not quite as clean made up through her front end, not quite as expressive in her shape as the heifers above her, but I think certainly a good female that's going to make a good cow for the young lady.
All right, Class 23, your junior champion female, and first in that class. Entry 2330, CF Mona Lisa 410 OM ET, owned by Sawyer McGrew of Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. Second was entry 4406, ZSF AND EUCC Rosemary 227 MET, owned by Caden Roberts of Cumberland, Ohio. And third, that's entry 4247 for Aubrey Short of Moncton, Maryland. Coming in now, we got our 2-year-old cow-calf pair division, entry 4653, Hillhaven, Cumberland, Diane, 43L for Broughton Cattle Company in Silver Springs, New York. And entry 2709, ATWF Miss Caroline from Chloe Patrick of Darlington, Maryland. Great pair of cow-calf pairs out here, and let's see what Judge Mooney's got to say about them.
And we do have 4 group classes.
In our Shorthorn show, we've got 2 entries here. The light-colored pair is going to win the class. I think that's a female doing a job raising a pretty good calf there. I think she wins the class pretty handily, a very attractive female. The female that's next in line, I'm not sure you need to show a female that's got a problem with her foot. I don't know if she stepped on something or it's injury, but it's probably not doing her any good having her here on the showgrounds. I'd give her a chance on the pasture to get healed up, but and maybe give her a few more groceries because she's trying to raise a good calf there, and I think that's what they're made to do, and sometimes we just need to let them do that.
All right, Class 26, 2-year-old cow-calf pairs, champion cow-calf pair. Entry 4653 from Broughton Cattle Company in Silver Springs, New York. And entry 2709 is reserved. ATWF Miss Caroline 302 from Chloe Patrick in Darlington, Maryland. Coming in now, we've got our grand champion Shorthorn Drive, so let's recap our divisions, shall we? Champion late spring heifer calf goes to 3252, Madeline Rankin of Centerville, PA. Reserve goes to entry 2290, Sawyer McGrew of Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. In our next division, our early spring heifer calf champion, entry 2277 was champion. That's Knox Harrison Newmeyer of Bowling, Texas. And reserve was, please hold, well, I know I wrote this down. That's rather embarrassing, but I believe that was Michaela Sugg from New York. Oh, yeah, there we go. Michaela Sugg, entry 4797 from New York. My apologies, everyone. Junior heifer calf division, we find our champion in there in entry 5222, Weston Ward, Greens Fork, Indiana. Reserve was entry 2537 from the same class, Peyton Davis, Emmitsburg, Maryland. Get into our senior heifer calf champion. Champion senior heifer calf goes to entry 4832, William Beinlich from Monongahela, Pennsylvania. Reserve goes to entry 4263, Sawyer McGrew of Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. Intermediate champion female goes to entry 2807, and that was for Liam Hartner, Marriottsville, Maryland. Reserve goes to entry 2615, Bristol Bates of Chandlersville, Ohio. Our early spring champion female goes to entry 997, and that's Charlotte Holland from Gaithersburg, Maryland. Reserve in that division goes to entry 1771, S&T Perfect Dreams, owned by Jacelyn Thomas of Pikeville, Tennessee. Rolling in here in our junior champion female division, entry 2330 was your champion, and that is Sawyer McGrew of Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. Reserve in that division goes to entry 4406, and that's Caden Roberts of Cumberland, Ohio. Finally, rounding out our champion cow-calf pair division, that's champion is entry 4653, and that's Broughton Cattle Company from Silver Springs, New York. Reserve in that division goes to entry 2709, Chloe Patrick, Darlington, Maryland. Guys, I think the Purebred show has just been absolutely incredible. I mean, we talked about the quality that we had in the Plus show, and it's really, really good. But, making these Purebreds is just, to me, it's always been the more challenging one of the two. And not to play down the pluses. I love the pluses, and they are incredible in what they are. But, we talk about hybrid vigors, how we make stuff better, right? So finding a way that we can make these even better, these purebreds, and continue to make them as high quality as these incredible breeders and folks and exhibitors have, is just amazing to me. And I absolutely love to watch the process. And I know I've seen many of these as baby calves, you know what I mean, as heifer calves, and to watch them grow and develop and how they've changed over time as females and the quality that they still represent is just absolutely amazing to me. And like I keep saying, I'm sure you are getting tired of me beating this drum to death, but just makes me so excited and passionate as a Shorthorn breeder, as a Shorthorn enthusiast, to see the quality that these things are equipped with, and know that we're setting ourselves up to be even better in the generations moving forward. So very thankful for progressive breeders who make these incredible animals year after year and help them find the success they need to have. It really makes it exciting from an enthusiast perspective. So got a lot of great ones out here, guys. I'd like to kind of, like I said, kind of recap some Bovatech stuff as we finish up in our Shorthorn show here. We got some pair classes as well we'll cover. Like I said, Bovatech, I absolutely love being a part of the company. Thanks to each and every one of you who has let me be a part of it this far, because it's been an absolutely incredible journey. The freedom you guys give me to make decisions and go some incredible places, I just absolutely love it. The incredible people I get to meet, whether it's prospective clients, new clients, partner veterinarians, you name it, satellite owners, I just love it. It is an incredible place to be. More importantly, it's an incredible place to work with from a customer perspective. Like I said, personalization, the customization, the care that is put into each and every single oocyte and embryo is just, I think, unrivaled in our IVF industry. I think that the level of work that they put into things is very, very good and very, very high end. And I think the product we make is also unmatched in the IVF industry. I feel we make the gold standard frozen IVF embryo, and it is very, very good, and it's very, very sticky. I implore you, if you're on the grounds here over the next few days, I'll be here up until the end of the junior show tomorrow here at the Keystone International Livestock Expo. Come visit me at the booth. Come talk to me or find me as we go around the barns. I'm decked out in my Bovatech garb. I'm really not hard to find. I kind of look like a rolling gray grape today because I've got on a gray shirt. So find me. I'd really like to talk to you guys about the power of Bovatech. And if you can't find me in North Hall, there at Full Circle Farms, I've got what I like to call a little satellite booth. Dr. Josh Winslow and Michael, his herdsmen, are just some absolutely incredible people, believers in Bovatech, believers in White Oak Veterinary Service. And so talk to them, because they will share with you some of the insight and what they've gathered from how Bovatech has impacted their operation over the last few years, and how they continue to commit more cows to our system because it truly works for them. The personalization, the customization, and the care that our partner veterinarians have the ability to offer is truly unrivaled, and I consider myself incredibly blessed to get to be a part of this operation. Guys, like I said, any questions, as always, I'm very easy to reach and get a hold of, but we'll continue to talk about that after we wrap up this grand drive. What an incredible group of Shorthorn cattle.
Well, let's put our hands together and congratulate the exhibitors of these females. It's kind of interesting when you get the call to judge a show. I don't judge a lot of shows since I took on the deal of working with the state FFA officers, because the time of year that they want you to do things, you're kind of busy with some things. When I got this call, I really considered it being an honor. Having been a person that served on the board, I know the process of a committee that selects potential judges, and then they're reviewed by the board and they rank them and pick some. I don't know if I was the first or the last one on the list, but anyway, I got asked and I thought it was an honor, and I thought it was fitting. I'm not very good at promoting myself in the bio. You know, my ranch name is Keystone Shorthorn, so it's just an omen that I ended up at the Keystone International to judge a show, I guess. But again, I think it's a real honor to be asked by the association, by the breeders, the board, and certainly the people from the Keystone International here, and have this opportunity. There's some awful good females out here, and today it just happens to be my opinion. And if you've listened to what I've talked about, I really care a lot about structure, and I always have, and I think I always will, because I think one of the things I learned when I was judging in college, my coach, he used to yell at me a lot because I'd always place the classes wrong, because they were all bad-legged in 1982 when I was judging, and I would put the big ones down because I thought they were just horrible, and my coach would tell me if I'd ever place the class right, we could win a contest. So, the thing that really frustrated him was I would out-talk the rest of my team on the reasons, because everything I said was true, and most cattle people agreed with what I had to say. But structure is really important to me, and I think there's enough things wrong with cattle that you can't see that it's important to pay attention to those things you can. So I've lined up these cattle and I could talk about them. The bottom line is there's a couple out there that really catch my eye, and you know, who knows, I don't know how they've been doing at other shows. I don't know everybody's name and where they came from or how much anybody paid for their cattle, so that really wouldn't matter to me at all. I did pay some attention to the data. There's not really a lot of difference in the data in these cattle. There's a little bit of spread on the birth weight and things like that, but nothing that really had an impact on the placing. There are some awful good females out there. I'm going to go out, take one more quick look, and I'm going to congratulate a couple people. And again, it's been my honor to line up these heifers, and I hope you, even if you don't agree with the way I lined them up, that you can understand why I did. So with that, let's give them one more round of applause.
All right, your champion, Shorthorn Plus female, goes to entry 2807. And that is Midnight Miranda a CFSF Ultimate Reward daughter, showed by Liam Hartner of Marriottsville, Maryland, bred by Hudson Brown of Marriottsville, Maryland. And your reserve female is entry 5222. And that there is CF Mona Lisa 534 LLET, a long look daughter out of Saul Mona Lisa Reward, shown by Weston Ward of Greens Fork, Indiana, and bred by Kate's Farms of Modoc, Indiana. Here next, we're going to be rolling into our pair female shows. We got a group of 2 females, a group of 2 bulls, Get a Sire, and Breeders' Herd. So stick with us momentarily as we roll into those. Guys, what a great Shorthorn and Shorthorn Plus show we had here today. Hey, they're going to start rolling into our group of 2 females, bulls, and Get a Siren Breeders' Herd classes here. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to be signing off, guys. Like I said, my name's Ben Archer with Bovatech. If you need anything in the repro field on the IVF side, got any questions about our IVF process or what makes us special as a company, please give me a call, 724-802-3442. And I'd love to talk to you. I cover a wide array of area. Like I said, I'd love to get out and meet with you guys. So, hey, coming up as we head into the afternoon, we're going to have the Prospect Steer Show. That's going to be covered by Billy Work, the founder of Stock Shop, the new premier place for private sales online for all species of livestock. And a guy that, growing up in my area there in the southwestern corner of Pennsylvania, I know had a lot of success in promoting some high-quality little prospect calves. And so a guy who knows a lot when it comes to that prospect side. So listen to the insight he's got to offer. Really thankful to get to be with you guys today. Have a great one, and God bless.
We apologize for being just a few minutes late, but we are looking to do our prospect steer show, and we will move into the other divisions. We're just going to take a minute here to get